Flight Stakes is up next over a mile, the first Group 1 of the day, Darren Flindell.
Yeah, and a great clash here between Funstar and Probabile. There's only a split match between them, but I've just gone Funstar over Probabile, then Girls Are Ready and St Covered Spirit. But
Waller, they're looking for 3 in a row on this Randwick card today.
Yeah, and they're going to go close too because she's one classy filly. Look, she's yet to do much wrong. She did at both ends last start. Interesting tactically today what they're thinking. Look, that rain this morning has played back into her hands as well. Interested to see what Lizzie...
Funstar in the T-Rose, Probabile, Karen McAvoy and Jamie Richards.
Yeah, look, only a nose off beating Funstar, second up there. She's been brought to a peak at a perfect time here. Gives the impression that the mile suits, and she's the obvious big danger to this favourite.
Flight Stakes is worth $500,000 versus 3 Group 1s today at Randwick over the famous.
Racing now, Funstar left the gates really well. Probabile actually jumped okay on the outside, but Girls Are Ready's moving up around Funstar, and Probile is on a fishing expedition going forward early stages, though it looks as though Karen's just trying to switch her off. Then our girl Snitty from Foxborough and St Covered Spirit last. So Funstar's leading them up here, and Probile is just given a little bit more rain the outside, and Probabile's going to keep tabs with the favourite going into the first corner. So this is the closest Probabile's been in her career, followed by Foxborough and St Covered Spirit hugging the rails as last of all. Funstar leads at the 700 metres, no change to the order. Probabile second, McAvoy starting to feel a bit for Probabile. He's stoking her up a long way from home. McDonald sits far quieter here on Funstar, the margin a half length to Probabile. McAvoy really getting into her around the corner. Then came Girls Are Ready, Foxborough, our girl Snitty and St Covered Spirit last, well into the straight now. Funstar just the leader from Probabile, who's making hard work of it. Funstar going great guns inside the 250 and opens up 2 lengths now on Probabile. A mile back to the rest, but Funstar full of running, and she's the star filly for the Flight Stakes. She's ripping away. Funstar wins it by 3 lengths to Probabile. Foxborough grabbed third in front of St Covered Spirit. Then our girl Snitty and Girls Are Ready.
Look at her stride out to win a Group 1. Funstar wins the Darley Flight Stakes at just her 5th start. Funstar, James McDonald and Chris Waller. On this day, they're having a day out. That's their 3rd winner of the day from 4 races and a Group 1 debut. Probabile.
But no, she's a super filly. She's a star in the making, and it's an absolute privilege to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you went out there. I mean, I heard your instructions from Chris Waller earlier. You had plan A and...
All over, you know, I think after 300 metres. In contrast to their last meeting where McDonald understandably Funstar dig up the ribs to keep Libertini's back, and she was the one that sort of locked her jaw and wanted to get her head up. This time he just flopped out over her head. She relaxed beautifully, and Probabile was the one that wanted to do things wrong and lock her jaw and over race for 300 or 400 metres there. So in these slowly run races you've got to be able to relax, and that's exactly what happened with this filly, and she's obviously a very, very, very good filly to have the record that she's got now with 4 wins from 5 starts, and her only defeat was narrowly. So, and she's adaptable. You know, she probably if you want to pull something out about her, she's never been on a dry track. All the forms which have been with a jar out of it, and the pedigree might say that that might be best for her. And I think it was although she ran well, I think Probabile you've got to be a little bit forgiving. A lot of people thought it might have been a bit more competitive, that race, but the way they've sprinted home there, and I think probably the quickest figures of the day in a race like that, it'd have to be, because they walked. They went very slow time overall.
It was a sit-and sprint, still a great performance.
Yeah.
And it's interesting comments with both stables. They're not sure what they're doing with both of those fillies, whether they give them a break and, you know, head them away for the autumn. I can't wait to see Funstar in the autumn. I think she's got a lot of developing, and what she's doing now is just a bonus, because she's just got so much maturing to come, and when she does fully mature, that's when you're going to see her at her best.
They're big carrot.
Things we knew that she would jump and be a very professional horse. We saw last start her do a few little things wrong, but today, yeah, she just showed that she's the real deal, and it's her first Group 1, and it won't be her last Group 1. We were in the same position with a similar horse a few years ago, and she ended up being a very good horse for the stable. So I just think it'll be hard to break my belief in just looking after the horses, respecting their age. She's basically been in from June in terms of racing, but I'll have a talk to the owners, see what they want. You could rate back up in the
field of 6, but Funstar was just absolutely supreme. Put on speed by James McDonald and just absolutely extended away from Probabeel. So in 4 months, she's had 5 starts, 4 wins, and now Group 1, and they've decided to most likely put her away and head for bigger things down the track.
Yeah, I got this race wrong. I thought Probabeel might be able to beat Funstar, but it wasn't even a race.
I thought they probably had to... Sorry, I thought Kieran made the right move too early in the race to go up and sit outside Funstar. You know, he was having to wrestle and come back and try and get cover, but he made the right move. But what an exciting win.
Yeah, but you could see a long way out that Funstar just had that race at her mercy. Yep. And I think Darren Flindell, terrific race call, he picked it up during the call that the race was essentially over.
Yeah.
You know, with 600
in terms of how it was run as well.
Yes. The Premier Stakes, sponsored by Bisley Workwear, over the 1200 Group 2 at Weight for Age. Let's go up to Darren Flindell.
Going with Osborne Bulls first up here today. The horse that kept running second in the Group 1's last preparation, but I think he'll be primed to show us that he's right and ready to go for the Everest here today. Have him narrowly on top of Classique Legend. I still think that Brutal's a winning chance as well, so I've got them 1, 2, 6, and Graf should run 4. So one
and all age Group 1, you guessed it, second in a Doom and 10,000 Group 1. The horses that have beaten the ball in those 5 starts. In her time, Sunlight, Centre and Elaine, Parada and the Bostonian. And this is a Group 2. Can he break back into the winners list for the first time since he won down?
Racing now. Classique Legend jump well. Osborne Bulls out with it with Brutal. Home of the Brave. Graf. My goodness, they're tightly bunched. And Home of the Brave's going to take up the lead. Graf is pushing through on the inside of Brutal. And the 2 favourites drop back now. Classique Legend and Osborne Bulls is taken right back to last. The stablemate Home of the Brave is keen in the lead. Out by length on Brutal has got the forward spot. In advance of Graf, 2 further back to Classique Legend. Osborne Bulls ridden stone cold by Bowman at the rear. Home of the Brave of the 700 leads from Brutal resuming today, and a very close second on the bend from Graf, then Classique Legend, and 2.5 off to Osborne Bull as they start to come around the corner now. Home of the Brave a half length in front to Brutal, then came Graf, all locked up at the moment from Classique Legend, and Osborne Bulls are starting to pick up ground into the straight now. Brutal moves up to Home of the Brave. Osborne Bulls and Classique Legend are coming out after him now, down to the 300. It's Brutal just in front of Classique Legend and Osborne Bulls. Brutal the inside, Classique Legend the outside. They beat off Osborne Bulls. Brutal still in front, 50 out, and Brutal's going to win the Premier. Home of the Brave came back to run second from Classique Legend third, then Graf, and Osborne Bulls has finished last in the field of 5.
Brutal is back. The Doncaster winner has won a Premier. Has he won his way through to an Everest? Could James Harron be interested now? He's beaten Home of the Brave, who fought on, and Classique Legend manages third. Brutal, Tommy Berry and Team Hawk.
Yeah, I just, you know, I'd been, I trialled him the other day, and I said to Hawks, he's more forward than we think. You know, he looks big in condition. He's had a good blow today, but it was a tough test on a soft track. But there's no nonsense about him. He fights hard. When the challenges came, he was there. And full credit to the Hawks team. They just take their time with their horses, and they.
Interview coming up with Michael Hawks is going to be important. OK, we'll bring you, Michael, when we return back.
Going into this race, Classique Legend was the only horse in the field with a slot. Osborne Bulls was out to confirm to Godolphin that he was their Everest horse, and Brutal was first up. Here's the Premier.
And Osborne Bulls, Brutal the inside, Classique Legend the outside. They beat off Osborne Bulls. Brutal still in front, 50 out, and Brutal's going to win the Premier. Home of the Brave came back to run second from Classique Legend third, then Graf.
OK, plenty to dissect here, Duff.
Firstly, how good is he? He might be pretty good. We know he's good. He's a Doncaster winner, you know, with a handful of starts, Brutal. But I would have thought whatever he did yesterday, he'd improve on. And I thought, oh, he's got an aggressive ride out of the barrier. Tommy's riding him like a pretty fit horse here today, and it was the right tactic. There's no doubt about that. He gets the money. But what did you think of him? What did you think of him?
Had improved, but was he good enough? And I just thought if you saw the real Osborne Bulls and Classic Legend, I thought you would have been seeing them winning the race. But the makeup of the race and the way it was run, it didn't enable Classic Legend to be able to win the race. It's just, you can't run down a horse like Brutal when you give him a start like that. He gets an easy, you know, didn't lead, but he had an easy, aggressive ride. He conserved his energy, and he had to be back in the field on a wet track. So,
First, I was, you know, it's a self-interest sport. I mean, you do your money at first, you think, geez, that was disappointing from Classic Legend, and you go home and you look a few things up, and his finishing speed was very good from the 600 home. And I just thought he didn't use his asset, the speed. I know probably Brutal drew inside and he may have jumped a little bit better, and he made the decision quickly. But once they got that, all these sprinters need is 200 metres to get into come back underneath, you know, get their breathing right, and then they're off again, and it's very hard for back markers. And Brutal, I'm really interested to see if he's offered a slot, or if they want a slot. You know, I don't know whether Team Hawks had 2 grand final peoples. I think they've got the eye on the Eagle, but geez, it'd be a hard carrot.
Especially if he can position himself close in the run. Obviously out now, James Harron still has the opportunity. What do Godolphin do? I know they've got options, because Osborne Bulls has pulled up 3 out of 5 lame and doesn't look like he's going. You know, his future's in doubt at this stage.
They'll be a little bit confused, but 3's, yeah, it's a worrying number.
It makes me wonder as well. Not that you should be.
Stakes and running in the Golden Eagle. I think that'll suit me better.
Glenn Schofield, home of the Brave.
Yeah, look, he loved a little bit of cut in the ground today, and a bit fitter and a bit more sharper for the run last week. Good effort.
Nash Rawiller, Classic Legend.
A little bit perplexed. He sort of, we had a nice run when the pace sort of slowed before the corner. He tracked up and sort of in his own rhythm. So, you know, we had pretty much a beautiful run. He did race a little bit greenly straightening. Just like to see how he pulled up. I don't think we saw the real horse today.
Brenton Abdullah, Graf.
He's racing consistently. I would have liked to see him finish probably just a length closer, but he's racing well.
Hugh Bowman, Osborne Bulls.
I was hoping he might go a bit better than that.
He was 3 out of 5 talking point, but his main aim is the Golden Eagle, and he's now second favourite behind Arcadia Queen, $3 and $4, and Classic Legend.
Won yesterday, but a Group 1 field, and again a particular pointed towards the Everest. And Brutal, first up from its Doncaster win, reinforces both its talent and its love of soft tracks, and perhaps is now in the right spot for James Harron's Everest slot.
Could well be, but they would have liked to send a bit more pressure on all times. They were 6 lengths slower the first section, and then they've really sprinted home. And you could argue that at this point, well, Classic Legend was still within reach, but what ends up happening is when they get that softer time on speed, they just find it hard to reel him in. But he's a bit of a war horse too, Brutal. He just keeps turning up. He does. And you can put him in a spot, Corey, which is really interesting, I think, with the Everest. I mean, he's got potential. I mean, he can take a position.
Well, in both Everests, they've been running quite slowly, really. Like, for the quality of race, both, I know they've both been on wet tracks, but the speed in the race just hasn't been there. That's where Red Zell gets up and just controls the speed. But with him in the race, it might
if he gets in.
Yeah. Brutal needs a slot. I was texting James Harron last night and this morning.
Angela Truth going into this third up. I think it'll just box seat behind Samadout, and in all likelihood run him down. So 6 to beat, 1 Lifeless Ordinary at bigger odds to be running home, and then the favourite Very Elegant, 6-1-3-9.
Counting Yard is brought to you by...
Starts the main quaddie, the Sky Racing Active Hill Stakes over the 2,000 metres, and with a sting out and a step up in trip, it's time to shine day for Very Elegant.
Thought so, like a lot of people, and yeah, she's entitled to step up and do a level bit.
Gates are back now, and they're off and racing, and Samadout left brilliantly as always. Lifeless Ordinary was nicely into stride the inside, and Angel of Truth is pushing forward on the outside of Cariff. Then came our Sentry from Tally, Young Star, and Very Elegant's going to settle back last. Samadout, so she's travelling pretty well back in the field, Very Elegant, and it's Samadout looking for another win this preparation. Leads out by a length and a half to Angel of Truth. Then came Lifeless Ordinary in the gun position third, 2 further back to Cariff. Then came our Century from Tully, and still the last two Very Elegant up on the outside of Young Star, so no change to the order. And Samadout's had a very cruisy time of it in the lead of the 800 metres by a half length and Angel of Truth. Then came Lifeless Ordinary, followed by Cariff, the now Century from Tully. Very Elegant goes into a clear second last position now, pulling out 3 wide at the 600 metres, and Young Star being shaken up is last. Samadou leads it coming around the corner now. Lifeless Ordinary is looking for a run off the fence with Angel of Truth giving it a little bit of room now. Then Cariff and Very Elegant gets going. She's going down the middle of the track. Samadou revved up now at the 300 metres, still has a kick from Lifeless Ordinary and Very Elegant the outside. Samadou still going well inside the 200 from Very Elegant on the outside of Lifeless Ordinary. Samadou still in front. Very Elegant the outside is trying to get on terms. Samadou, Very Elegant, they're wide apart. They hit it. Oh, quick finish there. Nothing in it. Samadou and Very Elegant. Lifeless Ordinary third in front of Tully. Then came our Century, followed by Cariff, Young Star and Angel of Truth. It's a photo.
A photo, Samadout in front and Very Elegant has lunged right on the line. Cameraman, I thought he was staying with Samadout. Now they've switched to show Very Elegant. There's right there. Oh, that looks like a dead heat.
It's close.
That looks like a dead heat. Here's shutter cam. No, that favours Very Elegant by a nose.
And it is.
And she's got it. She's got it on the outside. And the crowd goes wild. They love her. Well, she's back then. 9 Very Elegant beats 1. And what a day Waller and McDonald are having. That's 4 out of the first 6. And here's J-Mac.
Now, Very Elegant had to show something yesterday, especially for the punters who set her out favourite.
Yeah, look, narrow, but I thought a very, very good win, considering the circumstances. They rested mid-race here. She made it all happen herself. She made an early move, and I think we all thought she may have been in trouble when, you know, Sammy kicked here. Samadout kicked, and she had to dig in and have a go, and she did.
She wanted it yesterday.
That last 2 strides, did you see those last 2 strides? Yeah. And she really pointed that head out and savaged the line. Look at her head.
Yeah, she just really wanted it. I think it was great to see her back really wanting and savaging the line like that, because we always talk about it with mares. You just want to see them want to race, and she certainly looks as though she's in a good place now, and I guess she'll head towards a Melbourne preparation. They've always had the Cox Plate in mind with her, and that looks like her next target. Yeah, interesting. I think everyone was a little bit wary about her after a first up run, where we expected a little bit more from her, but the one person that's had confidence in her all the way through is the jockey. He's just hasn't wavered in saying she's flying, she's flying, she's flying. And he was proven correct again there yesterday. Lifeless Ordinary.
While she only won by a small margin, I think the run had a bit of merit considering where she's come from. But the sectional times, the experts will tell us that, no doubt.
I think it'll come in the Epsom, but I'm very, very worried about Dreamforce. That horse is flying and it's going to lead for a long way here. Colding, this is the perfect race for him, and it's hard to knock Rock, but I made it 4th best. So 4-1, 9-10 in the Epsom.
Brought to you by
Song. I liked him before the race after his run last week, and he's
a fair degree of improvement, I thought. He's a burly sort of horse, strong, muscular. And, yeah, with that run, just to trim him down a little bit, he'll present in super order, especially with the weight drop down from 57 that day to 50.5 with Glen Boss steering. Top pick, and we'll make it 9-1-4-15 in total. So top weight Dreamforce, second pick, he'll punch forward. Couldn't find a heck of a lot of temp.
Couple of nibbles at odds. Nibbles only though. 50 stars 15 to 14. Star of the Seas 16 back to 15 after going up at $15. And
Whose back would you ideally like to find?
I wouldn't like to be too far away from the top weight, you know. He's obviously going to take it up and be close to the lead, but I think he's the horse to beat. He's a proven horse over the mile here. He's got the great record. You know, he ran second to Brutal, and Brutal's come out and won again here today. So he's he is the horse to beat. So I'd like to have him in my sights at some point.
All right, good luck, Bossy.
So Duff, the mile start, a great handicap. The Epsom worth $1 million.
If you go back through the results of this race in history, it's outside barriers have got a better record than inside barriers. So that can all backfire if you're caught 4 deep, don't cover. But I mean, usually that beautiful long run down that mile, from that mile start there, jockeys can...
Clear now, and the big field are off, racing in the Epsom, and Dreamforce jumped well from the wide draw. Star of the season, Colding of Handy, together with Archidemus, who's pushing forward, and Best of Days is there as well. So Archidemus leads initially, from Colding going to second, then Best of Days, Star of Season, Dreamforce is out pretty deep, moving past Desert Lord at this point, then Gem Song from 50 Stars and Juniper midfield and 3 wide. Further back to Mr. Marathon Man, who's keen, followed then by Unforgotten. Tiaka Sharks in a 3 wide position going into the bend. Further back to the Candy Man on the outside of Mantastic. Then came Rock Cascadian getting close to heels from Kaoni. Natoy's back in the field 3 wide, and Lejuge's last of all. Well, Dreamforce has had to slowly amble forward from the outside gate, and he moves up to test Archidemus for the lead. Colding a very handy third. 2 further back to Star of the Seas, Best of Days, Juniper the outside 3 wide. Tiakau Shark behind getting some cover, followed by Desert Lord, Gems on the fence. Then came the Candy Man, 50 Stars, Unforgotten, Mr. Marathon Man and Rock as they turn for home in the Epsom. Dreamforce held together from Colding going up to eyeball it now. Star of the Seas goes to a clear third. Here comes the Shark, Tiakau Shark running on inside the 250. Colding 2 lengths clear from Tiakau Shark and Star of the Seas. Colding at the 150 from Tiakau Shark. He's launching a late attack. Colding a neck in front from Tiakau Shark. Tiakau Shark going to Colding, misses, and Colding wins the Epsom. Another big one for G-Boss. Colding just from Tiakau Shark. They panel the rest. I think Star of Seas third from Gem Song, 50 Stars, then Rock. Further back to Natoya, Cascadian, Desert Lord, Unforgotten, Best of Days, Mr. Marathon Man, the Candy Man, Junipal from Mantastic, Dreamforce dropped out with Archidemus, and Lejuge's last in.
Well, he's king of the Randwick Mile, Glenn Boss. He's won a stack of Doncasters. He now wins his 4th Epsom. And while they've combined to win a Doncaster together, they now combine to win an Epsom together, Chris Waller and Glenn Boss. They did it with Kermadec, in fact, and have a look at those colours. Neville Morgan's holds on to beat Tiakau Shark in a thrilling finish. He gave his all, the big Shark. But down on the limit, Colding has held on to beat Tiakau Shark. Duff's comments in a moment. Here's Bernie.
Miles, I talked to you pre-race. You had an adamant plan.
Oh, yeah, you always have plans, you know, and there's A, B and there's C. It's just about trusting the animal, really. He was very good. To be very honest, that was soft, you know that, because when he got clear, he loafed. Yeah. And as soon as he felt Tiakau Shark come up to him, he surged. He wouldn't have... That could have been another furlong and he would have got beat. So he just got into... I just couldn't believe how easily that mapped out. Just got into the perfect spot. They really slowed up from about the 1,000 to the 600. They really backed off. But, you know, he was in such a great spot. And I'll tell you what, Bernie, it's been a long time since I felt like at any stage I was never going to get beat. Yeah. A long time. I probably felt that a bit way in the Doncaster with Brutal last year. I just felt like it was the same sort of scenario. So I'll listen over.
Doncasters, Boss has won 7 and Waller has won 6. Epsoms, they're now 4 apiece. And of course, they combined to win 2 Doncasters, Chris Waller's first ever Group 1 triple honour, and of course Kermadec, and now they combine to win the Epsom with this horse, Colding.
Here comes the Shark, Tiakau Shark running on inside the 250. Colding 2 lengths clear from Tiakau Shark and Star of the Seas. Colding at the 150 from Tiakau Shark. He's launching a late attack. Colding a neck in front from Tiakau Shark. Tiakau Shark going to Colding, misses, and Colding wins the Epsom. Another big one for G-Boss. Colding just from Tiakau.
He is. He's just the big race rider. G-Boss is the big race rider because he does it too often.
I had a look at some Racing and Sports stats last night of Glenn Boss, and that was his 83rd Group 1 win. He's ridden 59 Group 2s. He's 70th there. I know Boss had the ride, and it should be spoken about. It was an absolute pearler to do what he did, and he was lucky that Dreamforce didn't cross to the fence, but he just tagged the right horse. He knew he had no weight. They'd beaten the handicap with him, and he just peels out here when Dreamforce takes over, and he's just there ready to pounce. From about here on, I thought this race is all over. Toorak Shark's going to blouse them here. He had a beautiful run 3 wide with cover. He chimes in here, and I think, yeah, you're going to be too strong now, son. And look, I don't think he tired on his run. This is a good horse, Colding. He lifted, he saw him coming, and he lifted him, because you can see that, because they're racing away from the pack. That is a good horse, the winner, to hold off a horse that was in full momentum, that's a proper horse, and put a margin into a solid Epsom look field. You know, Star and Seas was good. He just, maybe the mile at that level just sees him out, but it was a 2-horse affair really at the finish. I couldn't agree with you more about the two of those, Toorak Shark and Colding, are horses that you absolutely have to follow going wherever they go next. It was a good Epsom
run, great sport, and I've got a great team behind me. We've grown with numbers, and my team just worked tirelessly behind the scenes, and can't thank them enough. Around the country, how many people put in what you finally see. Yeah, they're races that people talk about, and races that owners want to win, and it's what they invest into racing for. And being such a big race, big field, there's so many chances, and we've been lucky to come out.
Toorak Shark come up to him. He surged. He would 20th of July.
Yeah, huge run. I'm very proud of his efforts. I thought he was the winner for sure. I still can't believe he got beat, but proud of his efforts. He felt brilliant and tried hard. Michael B, Star of the Seas. Yeah, very happy with the run. We were able to get a lovely run from the awkward alley, so just the first 2 home were just a little bit too good for me, but still boxed on well. Brenton Abdullah, Gem Song. He ran well. He ran as I expected him to. Probably gets a bit more lucky. He runs 3rd, so didn't disgrace himself. Karen McAvoy, Rory
Brown. Glenn Boss just has got such timing for these races, and he was able to put Colding in the absolute perfect spot.
His record over the Randwick Mile, not just the Epsom, obviously the Doncaster as well, as phenomenal. It's absolutely outstanding. He's obviously a big race jockey. A little bit concerned the first sort of 200 of the race. He got a little bit excited, Colding, got quite aggressive and had his head up in the air and was racing quite fierce, but the lightweight just proved the difference.
It did, because I think in retrospect, when you look at it, the pace was pretty solid as well. They steadied up a bit in that middle section, which would have actually advantaged Toorak Shark to make ground, but that weight just might have kicked in late in the doors. But it's still a very, very good performance from Colding, I think, to win it, according to the daily sectionals in Sydney, ranked the 2nd best race of the day.
6 from 7 since they gelded Colding. Queensland Guineas winner, of course, during the Brisbane Winter Carnival. Toorak Shark flashed home once again.
I thought he was...
You don't normally like back markers, but you like this one.
I don't describe him as a back marker, though. He's a horse who... he does have tactical speed. He settled midfield, and he had the perfect 3 and 4 wide card into the race. So at about the 800, I was quietly saying to myself, this horse is going to win from here. You don't want to go the early crow, but I thought he was travelling better than anything else in the race. But I think Hutchie's right. The weight just kicked in late. He looked like he was going to get the Colding, but similar to Colding's last start, he managed to find a little bit under pressure in that last 50 metres.
And I think if they get he might let down that little bit better, I think.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in the Cox Plate, Toorak Shark, because I think he's been left-handed in New Zealand, and I think he's the ideal horse. He'll just settle midfield and just sweep into the race.
Corey,
had an amazing day. He saddled up runners in 5 races at Randwick today, and he's won all 5 of them, including 2 Group 1s, Funstar and...
Stampede was the one here in the Metrop. Great performance there at Rosehill last week. The quick backup again. I think Stampede can lead and win. If that's not the case, Scarlet Dream should get the opportunity to close up well here today. Big Duke, I think, some very attractive odds here, and certainly worth a little each-way ticket. And there was nothing wrong with Hush Rider's performance there at Newcastle. I don't think...
I'm rocking up this preparation preparation when he raced here in Sydney, and he's only come back looking even better from Melbourne. So
numbers for me, 15, 7, 2, 4. I was nearly going to bail out on her because of the wet track, but I can't. She's been prepped up beautifully by the informed Mark Newnham stable, Scarlet Dream, and I want to be with her. I could easily save, or I will save, on Big Duke and Gallic Chieftain. I think they're the value runners in this race, and I'm very wary of this visitor, New Bosk, number 4, who's
Starts, he's just taken a bit of time to make some progress, but if there's support, he must be pleasing in private.
Get your read on the equal favourite, Brimham Rocks, who finished a close second to Patrick.
Grey line in, and we're ready now for the Heineken 3 Metropolitan. A mile and a half ahead of them, the gates open, and they're off and racing, and Stampede anticipated the start well. From Hush Rider and Sir Charles Road, Woogok out deep, followed by Nerf Bosk and Traro handy together with further back to Attention Run, looking for a spot. Come Play With Me's next from Scarlet Dream, ridden along, trying to hold a spot midfield on the fence. They're followed by Gaelic Chieftain, right behind it Big Duke from Brimham Rocks, then Grey Ryan, and Patrick Heron is the last one. Stampede, Brimham Rocks, then Big Duke. Second last is Grey Lion, and Patrick Heron's last. 7.50 out on the Metropolitan, and Stampede, the front runner from Sir Charles Road, followed by Hush Rider and Woogok. Then came Attention Run and the Blue Cap taking closer order. Shroros come off the bridle. Nerf Boss back on the rails, followed by Come Play With Me. Big Duke making hard work of it. Brimham Rocks gives away a big start as they turn for home, and Hieronymus goes for home on Stampede. Opens up 2 lengths clear. Hush Rider's giving chase on the inside of Sir Charles Road. Then came Come Play With Me, Gaelic Chieftain, and further back then to Attention Run. Inside the 200, Stampede a length clear from Hush Rider, Sir Charles Road, Gaelic Chieftain, Come Play With Me. Gaelic Chieftain moved up with Come Play With Me. Come Play With Me going home best. Come Play With Me wins the Metropolitan from Gaelic Chieftain, and Sir Charles Road third, just in front of Stampede. Then Big Duke winding up late from Attention Run. Patrick Heron with good headway at the end. Then Hush Rider, followed by Brimham Rocks, Woogok, Grey Lion, Scarlet Dream, and a big gap back to Nerf Bosk and Shraro.
Well, Waller has done it. A perfect record in Group 1s today. 3 in Sydney, 1 in Milf. And the Western Australians will be going berserk because they've won another Group 1. It's been Blackheart Bart, it's been Gadding, Scales of Justice, and now Come With Play With Me, sent over by Adam Durant, and Waller has delivered. And Brenton Avdulla wins a Group 1 on board Come Play With Me. Gaelic Chieftain is second, Photo third. This board Come Play With Me. Gaelic Chieftain is second, Photo third. They're set in Brisbane.
Win a Group 1. We've had Scales of Justice win a Group 1, and we've had other horses in lesser races
Vega
for
Magic
the Pierce
as well.
boys.
Yeah, no, they breed some fantastic horses, really hardy horses, and right from the word go, Ronnie, this horse has been trialling enormous all preparation, and he hasn't put a foot wrong.
He has a little bit of a blot in his copybook last start, but not that he disgraced. He just sort of got on the back foot there at the start and lost his race position. But they went a bit harder yesterday. He proved that he's a very, very smart stayer. You know, 2 from 3 now in Australia. Well, that's his first win, but I mean, he's been competitive all the way through in those 3 runs. And grand final day again. Good foresight by the connections to bring him over here, and Chris to nurture him to peak on the right day, which we know he can do.
Wet tracks don't disadvantage this horse, do they?
No. It'd be hard to gauge over there because you don't get a lot of wet tracks.
Group 1s. Chris Waller becomes the first trainer in Australian racing history to win 4 Group 1s on the same day. And Come Play With Me was sent east by Adam Durant, who actually bred this horse and trained it. It beat Gadding in the Swan River Vase in July. Who would have thought that was going to be a Group 1 form reference?
Yeah, don't worry about going to Europe to buy some horses these days. You might want to go to Perth. Seems to be the place. Look, this is another race where tempo was relatively good. So Stampede rolled along, good finish. Gee, Gaelic Chieftain backers would be on the floor. Looked to have the race cold, didn't it? But it was a strange watch because he sort of almost came again after the line.
He's sort of like he waited for the winner to go and then half charged back at him through the line, but
Into $4.40. Will come across with Spanish Whisper from that wide barrier. So Savatiano popular. Ought Beyond Her will lead. $8.50 into $6. Angelic Ruler stiff last start. Solid at $6.50. Spanish Whisper. Sports bet the favourite and clear-cut favourite now from Savatiano is Fidelia going into the fourth race.
Race 4, Flemington, Turnbull down away in a beautiful line as well. Celebrity Dreamers going back to the end. Hortbury on Her began speedily from that low draw and led from out deeper on the track, pushing up Savatiano. Spanish Whispers right there on the premises as well, a length and a quarter away to Dawn. And then came My Pendant, one off the fence. 2 lengths, Angelic Ruler, Pahutakawa. Then Celebrity Dream, Aristia second last. And at the end of the field is Fidelia. 900 metres to run. It's Hortbury on Her looking to control things. Tried to slacken mid-race by a neck to Savatiano. A length and a half, Dawn third from Spanish Whisper. 2 lengths, My Pendant, who covers up Pahutakawa. Then came Angelic Ruler. Next in the field, Celebrity Dream from Aristia. A length and a quarter away, Fidelia at the back. 600 metres to go. It's Hortbury on Her for Walker. Tries to stack them up around the turn from Savatiano. Spanish Whisper 3 deep. My Pendant behind them. Dawn the fence. They were followed by Pahutakawa. Angelic Ruler from Celebrity Dream. Aristia second last. Fidelia last and is the widest. 350 out. Hortbury on Her went for home and quickened a length and 3/4. Savatiano. Pahutakawa into the clear. Angelic Ruler down the outside from Dawn at the clock tower. Hortbury on Her still 2 lengths. Savatiano, Pahutakawa, Angelic Ruler run on. Hortbury on Her 100 metres to go. A length and a half. Pahutakawa finishing hard. Not fast enough though. Hortbury on Her controlled things and won at 3/4. Pahutakawa. Third Angelic Ruler. Savatiano and Aristia prominent for fourth. They were followed by Celebrity Dream, Fidelia, Spanish Whisper, Dawn and My Pendant amongst the tail enders.
Oh, Flemington suited her all right. Beautiful ride by Michael Walker. She was on her Melbourne leg throughout and she comes away for a stylish win. Pahutakawa jumps out of the ground to run second. Angelic Ruler running third. Savatiano running fourth. 9, 5, 6 and 4. Well, Chris Waller's trained a Group 1 winner and a double at Randwick. He gets his first winner today at fabulous Flemington. And Hortbury on Her really appreciated Flemington.
Yeah, she was great here, nicely rated out. Back around the bend. They're not making up a great deal of ground.
Didn't seem to make ground at all. Both races that we've run around the bend, Clint, they haven't, well, they've gone good speed and they haven't hit the line at all. But Michael Walker, I mean...
A couple of weeks back for the mares over 1,400 metres, and Michael Walker got really on his spike early on, ran a very quick section, 1,200 to the 1,000, got the horse to settle. And Corey, as we probably thought, Flemington of all the Victorian tracks was the one to help this horse get on the right leg.
Yeah, well, obviously she didn't get around the valley at all. Caulfield, she didn't really get a chance to change a lead leg. Craig Williams was way too smart. He got hard against her and didn't. It was definitely Flemington.
Just had an absolute picnic in front. They haven't gone quick at all. He never even had to push the button to take up the running. They were in 2x2 formation. It's developed into a sprint home and gave those back markers no hope. But you're up there. You're
in 9 races across Flemington and Randwick. So winner impressive, but perhaps pace to favour. Mike, we know your love of back markers. Fidelia runs, again, fastest last 400 of the day, but
in
the horse you don't want to fall off at stepping up in distance.
But in slowly run races, when you settle last, you can run the fastest sectionals for the day, but you still, I mean, she wasn't even in the race, Fidelia, so anyone who's laid Fidelia, they'd gone to the bank probably at the 400 metre mark. So she's, I mean, she's a handy horse, but she's very one-dimensional. So from a punting perspective, I think she goes around unders most times she starts, and I can't be with her given her racing pattern.
So even with high speeds...
mares out of this race that I think we can follow, and I know that you're really keen on Aristia out of this.
Yeah, Aristia was fantastic. I think just didn't get the tempo to suit. Fidelia was a forgive, but I'll take Mike.
Mounting yard we go, the Gilgai Stakes, $300,000 Group 2 race, and well, here is the sprinting queen. Her name is Sunlight, and the daughter of Zoostar, Hutch, simply is fast.
Yeah, terrific. I love her on the back up. She's got a good record when that's the case. She's through from 3 third up as well. She's ready to go. She's won down the straight. She'll be tough to beat.
Jane, your fresh run, Hutch.
Whatever he does today, he'll be better in a couple of weeks, no doubt, with the run, and his fresh form's okay. Second, third up is definitely the time to catch him, but he is just a proven warrior at the elite level, and at his best, he'll take an awful lot of beating.
There'll be a lot of people.
$3 we open into 240. She's been really firm. Punters have been backing her right through the afternoon to win this race and sit on Speed Sunlight. Santa Ana Lane next best at $3.60. He's always got his supporters. Good rap from Jane, but he's drifting in the market. 340, 350 out to 370.
Set and racing immediately. Santa Ana Lane from barrier number 5 away neutral. I Am Someone out fast with Sunlight. It's outside. Ballamartini is showing speed as well. Over towards the far side. Nantali's using the fence with Vital Silver. So they sort out their order. Sunlight is in front off the rails by a length. Nantali, Vital Silver, Dothraki, I Am Someone. They were followed by Tie Zone behind those, covered up by Ballamartini. I Am Excited on the fence. Utori the widest, third last from Vainstream, and Santa Ana Lane is at the end. Sunlight crashed over to the fence at the 650 and led Vital Silver. Nantali third, the inside further back as I Am Someone, Dothraki, then Ballamartini, Tie Zone. Next in the field is Vainstream the bolter. Santa Ana Lane's trying to bullock into the clear from I Am Excited well back. It's Sunlight cuddled at the 350, three-quarters Vital Silver, then Nantali, Zutori down the outside. Santa Ana Lane's unleashing as well. 200 to go. Sunlight Curry goes for the whip. Led 2 lengths Vital Silver. Santa Ana Lane, Zutori, then Dothraki. Sunlight going well. Little length and a half. Santa Ana Lane, Zutori. Sunlight, how good she is. She beats Santa Ana Lane, Zutori. Fourth, Vital Silver's run a good race. Nantali next, then I Am Excited, Dothraki. Further back in the field then was Ballamartini, Tie Zone, I Am Someone, and Vainstream was last.
She's fast. She's really, really fast, and Luke Curry used her number 1 asset, her speed, to put her right there. He nursed her. Santa Ana Lane was back. He eventually got out. He lost no admirers today. Onwards and upwards to the Everest for Santa Ana Lane. And also Sunlight. She was brave. She was asked for show speed at the start, speed in the middle, and in the end, courage got her over the line. Sunlight wins. Santa Ana Lane
certainly went to script. They had a game plan with Sunlight. They drew a high gate number. They wanted to get across to that inside part of the track and make the running. So she was going to be a little bit vulnerable late, Corey, with that early work she did. Sander was powering home, but he was running out of real estate.
Yeah, definitely. But look, with my mare to carry the weight she did against that champion, she just showed that she's a force.
She's a remarkable 2-year-old, a breathtaking.
What she's doing for my brand and now taking us to that big race, it's so exciting for us, and I'm so looking forward to it.
And not just your brand.
About as full as we've seen this race. It does have a pretty glittering list when you consider it's been won by the likes of All Silent, Haylist and Chautauqua in recent years, but Sunlight duelling with Santa Ana Lane, a pointer, of course, towards the Everest in a couple of weeks' time, but Sunlight makes it 3 for 3 down the Flemington straight 6.
Look, it went to script. I thought it was a tactically really good ride, of course. Went forward, got over the fence and made the running on Sunlight, and Sander was probably where many expected back in the ruck. I think story out of the race would have run from Zutori, but look, this was one of the better sort of ranked performances of the day. She deserved.
Lane's unleashing as well. 200 to go. Sunlight Curry goes for the whip. Led 2 lengths Vital Silver. Santa Ana Lane, Zutori, then Dothraki. Sunlight going well. Little length and a half. Santa Ana Lane, Zutori. Sunlight, how good she is. She beats Santa Ana Lane, Zutori.
Mike Simons has Santa Ana Lane in locked and loaded, and he was very happy to let everyone know about it in our production meeting this morning. Sitting pretty. Second fastest last 400 of the day. That's everything and more the Freedmans could have expected from Australia's arguably number 1 sprinter first up.
Yeah, no doubt, full credit to the winner, but as we know, Santa Ana Lane improved significantly second up every preparation, and having had an Everest slot locked away for some time, that's no doubt its grand final. And I think so long as the track conditions are, soft or better at Randwick, I can't see Sunlight finishing in front of Santa Ana Lane in the Everest, and I think he's justified at the top of the market for the Everest. He's a absolute Group 1 superstar, Santa Ana Lane.
Grace, Luke Curry's effort to get
Santa Ana Lane and from Sunlight. So under the set weights and penalties conditions, I thought it was a phenomenal run. I mean, he's really matched motors with Santa Ana Lane all the way to the line. So I think carefully placed, he could really feature over the next month or two.
A little bit.
All 4 Sunlight yesterday. I think they opened up sort of 280, 290 each of 2, and then Santa Ana Lane's drifted to 350, whereas Sunlight has started 225.
One of the interesting things, sorry, Mike, that was out of the meeting as well. Like for the first 7 races, nothing sort of further back than I think 6th or 7th in the run, won the race. It changed a little bit later in the day, probably with a bit more tempo, but that was something that was worth noting earlier.
Way down the straight at Flemington, Sunlight getting more runs under a belt, getting fitter. And Santa Ana Lane was first up and will go into the Everest second up.
He just knows us so well, Tony, doesn't he? He's just said exactly what's going to happen this preparation. We all sit back, oh, geez, it's a tough campaign. And she's just rock hard. I heard an interview with him this morning. He said, oh, no, she needs a couple of hard gallops. I haven't seen any ribs on her yet.
He wants to see another. He wants to see more rib.
He wants to give her a couple of hard gallops, and she thrives on it. She loves it.
Yeah, the trouble with the horse fight previews, and a lot of people were saying that today yesterday they were thinking about Sunlight, but Santa going forward would be the one that they were following. That's what most of the people down there were sort of saying.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it's the tick. Sunlight's on target, exactly what they thought, and Santa just beautiful first up, and we know he's a peak performer second up, and he proved that he's come back from Hong Kong. That's what I wanted to see, because it
happened after yesterday. Parada Stakes, the same at $5. Santa Ana Lane firm from 6 to 5. Arcadia Queen stays 7. Red Zell stays 7. Brutal, 26 into $9. Sunlight was 15 back into 9. Classic Legend, 7 out to 9. And the other two who stayed at home, but because of the failure of Osborne Bulls, Bivouac and Elise, who move a step closer, if you will, 11 into 9, Bivouac, Elise 15 into 13. In her time stays 15. Nature Strip Stakes.
Long battle between two fillies, and they are Miami Bound. She's won her last two in emphatic style. She's got a great turn of foot. Damien Oliver to ride for Danny O'Brien. Sits nice, 1 out, 1 back here. $3.70 into $2.70. But subpoenaed Chris Waller. He's had two winners here at Flemington. And subpoenaed Chris Waller's on fire, going for 7 winners state to state. 3 here at Flemington, and huge support.
Ready, gates are back, and away they go. Fashino away fairly. Miami Bound out fast. Also pushing through is Excel Leader, and out deeper on the track, Excused and Deserved. Excused led Deserved, and they were followed by Excel Leader. Next in the field then is presently Miami Bolt, a length and a half. Oriental Lily, Song Brocade and Moonlight Maid is at the end of the field. Excused is the leader, 900 from home by 3/4. Deserved now a half length. 2 further back in the field. In third is Excel Leader, and then came the favourite Miami Bound the inside. Next is Subpoenaed, 5th out, 3 deep. Bonvicini's out 4 deep from presently Fashino. Next in the race is Talented Westport from Levin Lass, and then Really Discreet Beauty Bolt, Song Brocade. Well back in the field, Oriental Lily as they pack, and at the end of the field is Moonlight Maid. It's Excused the first around the corner at the 450, 2 lengths Deserved. Miami Bound is trying to get into the clear. She's out now. Excel Leader down the middle, followed by Subpoenaed, not picking up at the moment from presently. Excused goes for home, 250 metres to go. Miami Bound's trying to get there. Fashino is driving through with Excel Leader and Moonlight Maid from the back. Miami Bound at the 100 takes the lead. Fashino coming out after her, and Moonlight Maid under the arches. She'll beat them all. Moonlight Maid has bloused them. Beaten Fashino, photo third. Miami Bound should just get it from Oriental Lily. Then came Beauty Bolt, Levin Lassen. Back behind those then was Excel Leader, who got tired. Excused got the stitch from Song Brocade. Really Discreet, Subpoenaed, Deserved presently. Well back Bonvicini, Westport, and at the back of the field was Talented.
Under the arches, Moonlight Maid for young Mitch Freedman gets a big win and gets a Group 2 win on a Group 1 race day. A wonderful moment in the career of young Mitchell Freedman. What a training performance. Second up from a spell, went to Bendigo first up, ran 4th to Miami. This filly by Poussin Stallone will never forget what he did when he bolted in a Queen Elizabeth here at Flemington by 10 lengths. We thought we'd seen the Melbourne Cup winner on that.
Good on you, Benny. Thanks, mate.
Good young trainer. His name is Mitch Freedman. He'll never forget this day. You've won an Edward Manifold, mate. What a wonderful performance. That filly has enormous...
Thought that, but she sort of come back from the paddock and she was pulling hard in her work, and it's been a lot of hard work to get her to switch off, and we sort of targeted the Manifold. I'm not sure if we're going to...
3-year-old fillies, Group 2, some of them perhaps on Oaks paths, some maybe to back up in the 1,000 Guineas, but Moonlight Maid storms home from out wide. This is stakes winner for Puson Stallone, who had an affinity with his state, ran second and third in a Turnbull, and also the Dam Manhattan Maid ran sixth in the Manifold back in 2011. So certainly the right date and time, but this was an impressive win and another good result for a young trainer on the rise in Mitch Freedman.
Yeah, absolutely, and turned the tables on Miami Bound. I think Ollie just gave for Miami Bound a bit of a squeeze to have her in a spot that he thought would be right for this race, and I think the sectionals early, well, he was probably right, but they really ramped the tempo of the race up, and ultimately it sort of set it up nicely for Moonlight Maid, who Corey was a lot better ridden with patience and came with a storming finish, wider than any other runner on the day. I mean, he found new ground out there, Benny Mellon.
We couldn't believe it. Like they...
Your top selection? I do. I think the Quickie will be tough to beat. Look, I've just got a little query about Mystic Journey over the trip, but there's not a lot of speed. I think Finch can run a good race. We were talking to Chris Waller. Finch will run well.
Let's have a look at Hutchie's top selection. Let's get into the mounting yard here for the Tab Turnbull Stakes, over $500,000. And Jane, you're about...
But I think he'll be peaking next time.
OK, well, that's interesting. Peaks next time. Number 4, Mystic Journey. Jane's assessment. She knows this mare so well. That'll be interesting. Hutch? What do you think?
Well, she's pretty hard to fault. Look at her overall record. She's won 11 of 15. She was beaten by Gatting, but that race rated really well, of course, in the Mackay Diva. The question mark for her today is, will she see out the journey? If she does, she's got last year when he first arrived. He ran 4th in that race, and he's come back in good style with his 2 runs, including a win last start. He's up in trip. That'll certainly... Sorry, he's back over the 2,000. That'll certainly suit him. He'll be up on speed, and he'll take a bit of getting past.
Look, he's a tall come on with a run under his belt. He just looks like an athlete. He looks ready to go, and I like the fact there was a...
3, Mr Quickie is clearly the best backed runner and your clear-cut favourite. Now at $3.60. Mystic Journey out to $3.90. Would you believe it, folks? The best backed roughie is Finch. Finch, the best backed roughie, number 6. $10 into $5 and $5.50 as he settles right there. Mr Quickie, the short way home for...
Racing in the Group 1 Turnbull. Trap for Fools towards the outside, away fairly. Finch began well with Kentucky Breeze. Also Hartnell up there. Trap for Fools is sooling up out deeper. Looks like Elvis 5th offence from Vow and Declare. And they were followed by King's Will Dream. Next in the field along the inside is Sound as they head towards the 1,600 metres and beyond. So it's a bit of a jostle for the front. Trap for Fools off the rails, led Kentucky Breeze. And they were followed by Hartnell. Looks like Elvis 4th offence, followed by Finch. A length and a half, Vow and Declare. King's Will Dream tucks away on the inside in 7th position. Then Rostropovich. Next is Sound. Mystic Journey second last, and Mr Quickie is at the end. Trap for Fools heading towards Chiquita Lodge at the 1,300 metres. Strides out by a length and a half to Hartnell. Looks like Elvis third. The inside of Kentucky Breeze at the 1,200. A length and a quarter away to Finch. King's Will Dream 6th offence. Then Vow and Declare. Rostropovich around Sound. Mr Quickie second last, and Mystic Journey is at the end. Trap for Fools, 1,000 metres to go. The speed has been fair by a length and a half. Hartnell. A length looks like Elvis. 3/4 Kentucky Breeze. 2 lengths Finch on the outside of King's Will Dream. Rostropovich 3 wide around Vow and Declare and Sound 2/3 down the field. Then the 2 favourites second last and last. Mr Quickie the outside of Mystic Journey. They come to the turn. 600 metres to go. Trap for Fools quickens from Hartnell. Kentucky Breeze looks like Elvis needs a run behind them with King's Will Dream. Finch is one of the widest. Rostropovich tracking into it. Then Sound up on the inside, and further back Vow and Declare. Mr Quickie second last. Mystic Journey still last. Hartnell moves up and takes the lead at the 300 from Trap for Fools. King's Will Dream getting into its work, followed by Finch, looks like Elvis, and then Rostropovich. It's Hartnell grabbed by King's Will Dream at the 150, then Finch. King's Will Dream, McNeil goes for the whip, followed by Hartnell. Finch. King's Will Dream in front of Finch, thrusting. King's Will Dream holding on. King's Will Dream on the Turnbull, beat Finch. Hartnell, Vow and Declare fourth, followed by Mystic Journey. Behind them, Sound looks like Elvis, Kentucky Breeze, Rostropovich and Mr Quickie never got warm, and at the end, Trap for Fools.
A remarkable story, a story of recovery. King's Will Dream, well, they nearly lost him when he broke down alarmingly in a Cox Plate, and they've nursed him back to health and fitness, and somehow he's won another Group 1 Kings Will Dream defeats Finch. Chris Waller trains a Quinella. Hartnell, the old brave warrior, runs third. And Jai McNeil wins a Group 1. A sensational performance.
Coming out of your apprenticeship, we've watched you grow as a jockey, and today you have just received your first Group 1 win. Well done, mate.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and you know, I've worked very hard my entire career so far, and Hartnell and trying to find his back because I knew he'd take me right to the 100. I wasn't able to sort of find that path, but I was able to manoeuvre into the clear, and fantastic job by Chris and all the team getting this bloke back from injury, and to my manager.
And full credit to the ownership group. Obviously, we all know in last year's Cox Plate where he had a really bad injury, and for them to go to all the lengths to ensure that the horse not only got pulled through but rehabbed and get back to racing. And again, Chris has managed his return so well, ensuring that just an...
Remarkable story. Fractured pelvis and internal bleeding in the Cox Plate 49 weeks ago. To recover, get back to the races, let alone be alive, but then to win this race yesterday, just a simply amazing story.
Oh, it's an amazing story, no question about it. A deserved win. Obviously, it was an interesting race as far as position in running for a couple of key runners. Mystic Journey missed the start, according to the Stewards report. When you see the vision, you can see missed the start. Tried to hold a one-off spot. We had Mr. Quickie at the back as well, that we probably would have expected back there. And Corey, the two of them were sort of bumping each other and riding their own race, but ultimately the tempo wasn't overly strong either. So
no, I think it was quite noticeable. Even seeing Hartnell stride up to sit outside the leader. Young Anthony Darman, I reckon I know they said he missed the start, but I reckon he should have left his options a little bit more open for the first 100 of the race. He could have got up onto the actual winner's back sort of mid-race or just before mid-race, but yeah, look, taking nothing away from the winner, it was very good.
You don't think he might options were somewhat limited?
But there was no intent to be positive from the start, and once you take that negative approach, then you just get dictated to, which is exactly the way the race unfolded. So she had absolutely no hope after they'd gone 50 metres.
Finch thrusting, Kings Will Dream holding on, Kings Will Dream on the Turnbull, beats Finch Hartnell.
So stories galore. Let's begin with Kings Will Dream first. So the victory, Chris Waller, 4 of the last 5 Turnbulls now. A little bit of a question mark on where it heads, but expected to perhaps try and target a Cox Plate. Is that the right angle?
Oh, well, perhaps. I mean, it was great to see him back. I mean, it's just a fantastic story. When a horse has gone through that much adversity, I think it's amazing they've even got him back on the track, never mind winning a Group 1. So, I mean, sectionals. You know, they've gone well outside. I mean, ultimately, where Mystic Journey was, I think, was about 14 or 15 lengths outside of the raw sort of standard or par-time. So they crawled. It's going to suit those horses near the speed. That said, Kings Will Dream was threw back the fence and got a really nice run, but was that little bit closer shape on the day.
And Mr. Quickie, probably the most disappointing run in his career. I mean, back last, involved in that sort of bumping duel with Mystic Journey.
It never worked
did
the line at all.
No.
Never will. And to you, Mike, I'm going to have to apologise. It was his race yesterday. He positioned up really, really well. He gave it his all, but yeah, I think that's his last throw at the dice as a Group 1 winner.
But he's just so consistent, Hartnell. I mean, he runs to the same level pretty much every start. So, and he does go particularly well at Flemington. But yesterday was the first time he'd beaten Mystic Journey home. So clearly, you know, he benefited from being positive out of the stalls, whereas Mystic Journey, I'm not sure Connections go away with any confidence that she's going to run 2,040 metres at Moonee Valley on the back of that. I mean, Vow and Declare, who'd be 100 to 1 in the Cox Plate, was finishing just as soundly as Mystic Journey was.
No, I don't think the sectionals really reflect that. Mystic
The
Journey's...
last 200, just if we go back and watch the last 200,
the last 200,
they just go neck and neck.
I mean, I think given that ratio, they haven't got...
Barrier 9, she ends up back on the fence.
You know, the thing for me with Anthony Darman, and he was outside of sound. He was trying to hold the one-off spot. He should have been more aggressive to hold that position, but he allowed...
Where does he end up if he is?
Following Kings Will Dream.
The winner.
Yeah, right behind Kings Will Dream.
I think what we all...
So slowest Turnbull since December draws win in 2011. It was the Mystic Journey with the second fastest last 200 of the day. To you, Corey.
Now, Damien Lane, Finch.
Yeah, massive. Shattered he got beat, to be honest. Kings Will Dream just got into my neck when he was going better, and my bloke was stronger to the line. Probably deserves to be the cut favourite off that.
Thanks.
Dwayne Dunn, Rostropovich.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing. I just think we're just going to let him gallop and get him up on speed.
James Winks, Sound.
Yeah, very good. He got it wrong from about the 1,000 to the 600, but he ripped through good. So if he gets in the Caulfield Cup, he'll run a race.
Damien Oliver, Vow and Declare.
Yeah, excellent run. They really slowed up in the mid-stages. He a bit fresh first up, but couldn't have been happy with the run.
Anthony Darmanin, Mystic Journey.
Yeah, sure as you. Just the tempo of the race, they went so slow in front and just in an awkward spot. Mr. Quickie kept bumping me, so she wasn't really appreciating that, but once she got out, she really took the line very good. Thanks.
John Allen, Mr. Quickie.
Yeah, look, disappointing. Probably ended up in a bad position, but they went very slow, but you'd just like to have seen him run through the line a bit better than what he did.
Brad Rawiller, Hartnell.
He ran fantastic. Circumstances of the race, we end up outside the leader, which probably isn't ideal for him, but we still got a good rhythm, gave a great kick and really showed tremendous fight.
Cups seems really well placed and be a ride you'd be making phone calls for him.
Yes,
tipping.
definitely. I thought his run was huge yesterday, and like Damien Lane said, when the winner glided out underneath him, he just wasn't going sharp enough at stepping up to the 2 mile. He's going to be a very, very hard holdout.
And Mike, by precedent, but it shows how things perhaps are changing.
I think he's a highly progressive horse, Vow and Declare. I mean, he was arguably unlucky behind Mr. Quickie in the Queensland Derby. His run yesterday, I thought, was outstanding. It'd be interesting to see where he goes next, or whether he goes fresh into the Melbourne Cup. But you know, he's a genuine stayer, and he's only going to get better. I think
a little bit more shape. So the question mark or the asterisk still perhaps remains Mystic Journey. We'll see Avilius again shortly. We know Homesman already qualified through the fan. Melody Bell incidentally won the Livermore Classic over in New Zealand yesterday, so another Group 1 on its CV. And Kingswell Dream looming in the market, along with Tiakau Shark, who a couple of our pundits like off the back of a pretty impressive second in the Epsom yesterday. But
isn't it, in terms of competition? Look, I think from what we've seen in recent weight for age races, and this season in particular, I don't think the internationals are going to be shaking in their boots by any stretch of the imagination. If they bring their form, if the Japanese entrant brings her A game, they're going to find it almighty hard to beat her.
More on that in
thereabouts. Winks was winning a 4th Cox Plate. Chris Waller was celebrating. In the same race, Kingswell Dream suffers a pelvic injury and fights for its life. Come back 12 months later, Waller's got Kingswell Dream and wins a Group 1. One of the most remarkable comebacks by any racehorse.
No, outstanding. He's been in beautiful shape ever since we laid eyes on him in an exhibition gallop, and he 3rd up there. We know how good a horse he is. Geez, Finch is on target for the Melbourne Cup. Hartnell. That's just what you see is what you get. Mystic Journey, we have to talk about her. She was ridden so... Look at this on the point of the turn here. Kingswell Dream comes underneath Finch's neck there, gives him a bump to get out. I read a quote from Damien Lane, I got shoved out of the road and it's cost me the race. Well, why didn't he protest if that's what his way of thinking is? Mystic Journey, were they just out there to prove a point that she can run 2,000 metres yesterday? We learnt nothing about her yesterday. I thought her run was good. She ran the sectionals. And Vow and Declare, well, there's another Cups horse, there's the 4th horse. So much to talk about that race, but at the winner, it's been a great job to get him back.
Yeah, I think the focus has to be on the winner. I mean, to be able to... I mean, he was on his... basically everyone who's been behind this horse and got him to this point in time, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who need to be thanked.
What about this girl? Melody Bell wins her 9th Group 1 in New Zealand. Incredible
achievement, and that's a record over there. I think King Move Faster may have won 8. I think Opie's won 7 from 7 on her. She's just been a marvellous story, and the only mare horse to win this Triple Crown as well. And a few have had a go at it, but she does it with style, and you know, for only paid 57.5. What a money spinner she's been. She's a beauty.
He was a bit stiff, really, considering he had 3 Group 1 winners, and he won the one in New Zealand, Jamie Richards, but obviously just got pipped by 2 better horses on the day in Sydney.
Oh, Group 1.
So, Surprise Baby, an absolute strip out for Sportsbet here in terms of the hold on the books. But I'll tell you what the best back runner is late. It's Supernova, number 11. It has been crunched by some of the bigger syndicates to take a forward position. $15 into 6 into $6.50. Huge move for Supernova outside.
Going to be in front of Surprise Baby. I just don't think the track's racing. I know Surprise Baby's probably the better horse, but the way the track's racing, I'd rather be on King of Lowgrounds.
That's one winning jockey in Corey Brown. The favourite is Surprise Baby, and Jane, you're alongside Paul Prushka, a chance to win his way into the Melbourne Cup.
Well, that is always...
They're set. The 126th running of the Bart Cummings for Lexus. They're ready. Gates are back and away. Del Harold away neutral. Mundahar away quite well towards the outside, with also Wolf, who shows out. Not too far off the speed, Ventura Storm. El Faris with the red cap is pushing up, and then Etymology, Azuro the fence. Surprise Baby next. And at this stage is 7th one off the fence. 3 further back, King Alia Grants, and then Supernova Del Harold. Towards the back, the Good Fight. Quaffany second last. Tiaka Calabilla gap to Mundahar third, followed by the inside Azuro. A length and a quarter, Ventura Storm. The outside of Supernova, who's tucked away on the running rail in 6th place. A length and a quarter, Etymology and Del Harold. Then came Surprise Baby, who would still be about 8 or 9 off the lead. A length away, Quaffany, and then came King of Lear Grants, who's going to track the favourite wherever it goes. At the end of the field is Tiaka Caliburn on the inside of the Good Fight. So the front runner, as they reach the 1100 metres, is Wolf. Wolf in front by a length to El Faris, and the pace has been quite moderate. Mundahar set alight on the outside now. Then came Azuro, 4 off the lead. 2 further back, Ventura Storm, and then came Supernova as they attempt to string them out, these leaders. Back behind the Etymology, then Del Harold. Surprise Baby, 10 off the lead from Quaffany, King of Lear Grants, the Good Fight, and Tiaka Caliburn. They've stepped it up approaching the turn. It's Mundahar and El Faris together from Wolf whacking away. Then came Azuro under pressure, 2 lengths off from Ventura Storm. Supernova behind those from Etymology. Surprise Baby with 5 to make up, but coming on. And then King of Lear Gronson back behind them, Del Harold. So it's Wolf on the inside coming again. Led Supernova, El Faris. Now Surprise Baby letting loose down the outside from Azuro. Supernova up to Wolf, but here comes the baby. Surprise Baby moves up on the outside of Supernova and Wolf. Surprise Baby just in front of the 50. Surprise Baby under Geordie Charles is pulling clear, and he is our hope of the cup. Surprise Baby by a length and 3/4 won the Bart Cummings. Second, Supernova. Third, Wolf, a tough run. Photo fourth, Del Harold, Azuro, Ventura Storm, all there, a gap, Quaffany. Behind those, the Good Fight, King of Lear Grants, El Faris, Etymology, a gap, Tiaka Caliburn, and at the end was Mundahar.
He is a very, very special horse. He's trained by Paul Prushka, who's got himself a runner in the Melbourne Cup. And what a turn of foot he had. A brilliant ride by Geordie Charles. He went through the gears. He made sure that he got to the right spot. And Paul Prushka and Whitey, congratulations. You got a runner in the great race, the Lexus Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, it's just, I haven't got a lot of words at the minute, so you'll have to forgive me, but just to like to thank everyone that chips in and gives me a help, and just a peach of a ride by Geordie.
A long-term plan, and you've always had unbelievable faith in this horse's endurance, and he showed it today.
Yeah, I think he'll, and he'll improve a lot off today. He's not wound up. I'll strip him better again, but it's just a matter of getting home and letting my feet get the ground, and we'll come up with another plan.
Well, what about to have a runner in the Cup?
In dominating today, placings, winners, you're on 10 points, you're nearly home and hosed, but talk about this bloke. Yeah, he's been a good day for me, and just happy for Paul and the whole team up at Horsham. They've done a fantastic job with these horses, and for them to get a horse in the Melbourne Cup, it's a massive thrill to be a part of it. Better start getting on a diet. Jenny Craig's. Yeah, that's right. He's got 52.5 in the Melbourne Cup at the moment, so we'll see what penalty he gets today. But if not, my good mate Dean Holland's been done a bit of work on this horse, so if it doesn't get my way, I'm sure he'll be in the box seat.
Outpouring of emotion, and again, a long-range plan to set this horse to win this race, to get into the Melbourne Cup, after, of course, being just shaded by Steel Prince in the Ramsden.
Yeah, well, Corey and I were in the paddock yesterday, and I was just looking at Paul, and you could see he was tense. I mean, he was really tense, and
doing a bit of box walking there.
He was a little bit, and there was just a release when you get some vision of him.
Well, there's a lot on the line yesterday. I mean, the horse had to win yesterday to be guaranteed a run in the Melbourne Cup. Otherwise, it's going to need to run again to try and qualify, because it's probably not going to get in based on where it's handicapped. So
key move at that point of the race too. Geordie staying one off.
Exactly. He could have fell back down onto the fence. He's got a great level head on him, Geordie Charles, like as a ride.
Just running through what Surprise Baby did from the 800, 11-1, from the 600, 10-8, and then from the 4 to the 2, 11-4. So the race was almost, he set it alight at that stage of the race. Okay, the last 200s, they were all pretty ordinary because the race was sort of on from this point on.
So the race that delivered Al Mandan a Melbourne Cup back in 2016, can Surprise Baby emulate it? Here's its win in the Bart Cummings.
Now Surprise Baby letting loose down the outside from Azuro. Supernova up to Wolf, but here comes the baby. Surprise Baby moves up on the outside of Supernova and Wolf. Surprise Baby just in front of the 50. Surprise Baby under Geordie Charles is pulling clear, and he is our hope in the Cup. Surprise Baby by a length and 3/4.
Again, a great call from Matt Hill. So pending a penalty out of that race, drops 4.5 kilos in a Melbourne Cup. There's potential that Dean Holland, who rode the horse to win the Adelaide Cup, comes on as a result of the weight the horse will receive, which would be disappointing for Jordan Childs. But he spoke post-race so glowingly, almost, can he win it?
Yeah, he can. He stays 2 miles. I mean, let's not forget in his first preparation at start 5.
Start 6. He won an Adelaide. It was a weak Adelaide Cup, but he went from 2,000 metres to 3,200 metres and was dominant.
Still
so
more, yeah.
He's on an upward spiral, this horse, and you know, he ticks a lot of boxes going to a Melbourne Cup. I mean, many horses in the Melbourne Cup just don't run the trip. This horse will definitely run the trip.
And you know what? When I watched that again today on the show,
add to the merit that Paul Prushka and his team have been able to get him into this sort of position, get him into the race off only 10 starts. And from now, we probably won't see him run again.
He's certainly developing a cult following very quickly for a young horse, and you can imagine he'll be very popular with the tote punters come Melbourne Cup Day. I think everyone will want something on Surprise Baby being a local horse.
First to the Caulfield Cup, we know Finch atop the markets after its second in the Turnbull Stakes yesterday. We lie in wait for what we're going to see from some of these internationals we are yet to see, and then there's an emerging group further down that page. We'll get to Very Elegant's win in the Hill Stakes a little bit later on, but again, it's still fairly wide open, particularly by the fact that we won't see Surprise Baby running in that race.
Well, potentially not. I mean, when he was interviewed post-race, Paul, it's interesting, and Finch at $11. I suppose the market's still going to change a lot in the next couple of weeks.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And there's Cross Counter and Marmello, last year's Quinella in the Melbourne Cup, sitting on the third line of betting ahead.
At the top of the market. Surprise Baby's now favourite for the Melbourne Cup in front of Finch.
Yeah, he looks like Australia's hope Surprise Baby. It's got a bit of an Alco pop story to it, really.
Yeah.
He was very... How strong is he? He's very, very strong. Supernova, we know that was the real Supernova yesterday. He might be able to run in a lead up and force his way in. New Melbourne Cup favourite. An Australian horse, we would believe.
Just coming up here is race 4, Stan Fox Stakes, Group 2. Let's go up to Darren.
Brandenburg, who have matched up in the past. I thought it was a pretty reliable Quinella. Down the bottom, Kuwi Up had no luck last time at Caulfield. It's certainly
only 2 starts. Let's see what he can do today. He's certainly a short price favourite.
Fan, and he's made it his best all day. 2 are special to beat 4, 7 and 3. That race going to Sky 2.
So in missing the start, El Vesio and Cock Match was first into stride. Collada showing good muster and Rockamore going forward. In front of Famous, who just drifts back to 4th now. Then came Fasano on the outside of El Vesio. A length and a half to Kuwi Up, followed by Brandenburg, and the favourite is going to settle last, but Tager about 8 lengths off the front runner, which is Collada, who's travelling pretty keen here, and Collada takes the lead away from Cock Match. He didn't offer any resistance, but the favourite Batag would be at least 10 lengths off the front runner, which is Collada at pace. Leads by 2 lengths on Cock Match, being contained in second. 3 further back then to Rockamore from El Vesio, then Famous. Further back to Fasano from Kuwi Up, Brandenburg, and Batega is still back last. Josh Parr just sitting pretty for the time being. He knows these leaders have worked, and it's Collada leading around the corner by 3 lengths on Cock Match. Then came further back to Rockamore. Boy, there's still a good margin in front of the rest of the field. 4 lengths off to Famous. Now Kuwi Up trying to work into the clear from Brandenburg. Batega still last of the furlong, and Collada's way out in front. 5 lengths clear from Rockamore. Boy, Batega 10 lengths away, really charging at the end, but Collada with his massive lead, and it kept going, Collada, and it wins the Stan Fox in a bit of a boil-over. Brandenburg second, Batega third, just in front of Kuwi Up. Then came Rockamore, further back to Cock Match from El Vesio, Famous, and Fasano, and that's been some effort out front there. Collada in the hands of Robbie Dolan.
Yeah, the stablemate to the favourite, Bottega, is Collada, and it wins at $24, $20 and $5. Gerald Ryan, Robbie Dolan. Brandenburg has run second. Stan Fox Stakes, 1,500 metres, Group 2 for 3-year-olds, and Bottega was sent out. The short price favourite, was heavily backed. They broke a track record here. Not that they run many 1,500 metres at Randwick, but it's a track record, and yes, they went fast, and it was all Collada making that speed.
Well, it just comes down to he went out hard, but he kept going. So it makes it impossible for the back markers. He simply broke their hearts. He's been out hard a few times, but maybe the two dangers. Well, the favourite got too far back, Batiga, but I don't think he had any option. He wasn't fast enough to keep up to that tempo. That was a new. This horse some of these horses are just out of maiden class, and that's another story about this race. This is not working. This Stan Fox Stakes at this time. When they moved it, we thought, oh well, sounds all right. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Not with the Roman Consul on the same day. No. It's not going to work. The last couple of years have been disappointing, and this, you look at this races.
Wasn't the Stan Fox a lead up to the Golden Rose?
Yes.
And then they moved the Dulcify, so the Dulcify now becomes that lead up, which Castelvecchio ran in. And now the Stan Fox is in no man's land.
I'm no programmer, but I can see that race has fallen away the past couple of years. But
Stan Fox, we move to the Roman Consul, another Group 2 for the 3-year-olds. 1,200 this time. Let's go up to Darren.
Going with Cosmic Force here, I thought the first up run was good, and there's a fair chance that I might be able to get right up on the speed here in a race which pretty much is void of pace. Standout, I think if I like Cosmic Force, I've got to give Standout a great chance, particularly at the price. I've got a big query on microphone, I have to say. I didn't think the trial was anything special. And
runners today, but none more so than him. He's the champion 2-year-old from last season without a doubt. He's had one trial, which Darren said there, it's inconclusive. He didn't seem to trial any good at all, but he's galloped.
And he's tightened up through his midsection. He started to get some nice definition over his hindquarters. And
it's at Randwick, best.
Cosmic Force jumped out really well. Leads by a length and a half early stages. Microphone out okay from Dirty Work. And they're followed then by getting right through on the inside. Standout. Accession next. True Detective being snagged back, and Human Nature improving on the rails. Cosmic Force in front by a length or so to Dirty Work, travelling strongly. Microphone in third, a couple further back to Human Nature, is firing up now on the inside of Standout. Accession and True Detective are the last two. Cosmic Force leads approaching the corner. Dirty Work gets within a half length the outside. Then Microphone travelling pretty strongly. Human Nature switches off better now in fourth, followed by Standout, True Detective, and Accession's the last one as they start to round the corner. And Cosmic Force, after the good getaway, leads the way from Dirty Work, who's not far away now. Two further back to Microphone. Standout is starting to run home well. It's Dirty Work moving up on the outside of Cosmic Force. 2 lengths away to Standout. Microphone just labouring a bit. Cosmic Force lifts though inside the 100. Beat off Dirty Work, then Standout and Cosmic Force. Good getaway today. Cosmic Force did all the way on the Roman Consul. Goes on to win from Standout. Microphone third from Dirty Work. Then came Accession, Human Nature too keen, and the blinkers have not improved things for True Detective. It finished last.
Cosmic Force, a Golden Slipper favourite at one time, has bounced here second up. After running second in the Heritage, wins the Roman Consul and leads. So that was the Stan Fox Consul now. Microphone, the newly named Australian 2-year-old of the year, was having his first run as a 3-year-old. He ran second in the Slipper. The horse that started favourite in the Slipper, Cosmic Force, wins the Roman Consul.
Yeah, firstly, great tactics to be positive from the wide draw. It paid the dividend with Cosmic Force. There was nice improvement there second up, as most expected. I thought he was terrific. He's run very fast time there on a quick day, I must say, breaking Exorcist's race record. Standout was excellent again. He's had a fantastic first racing preparation, that horse, and probably hasn't got the credit that he deserved. Now, Dirty Work was spec'd at long odds and very good, and then obviously this talking point is Microphone, because he didn't run to his profile, and we were talking about it before the race. He was a bit, he was roaring in the yard, and he knew he was one of the lads. So I want to give him another chance.
I thought his run was acceptable without running to the big boom Horse of the Year.
Yeah, I think he's that run will, working with, stallions and knowing that runs just really bring them back down to earth. That will definitely bring him back down to earth. He's obviously going to be freshened up for a Coolmore, but he is. I think they know in the back of their mind he already feels he's ready to be serving. At stud. So he's just a real bull, and probably. I didn't go down the back, but I heard that he was a lot worse down the back than he was in the yard.
Well, how we do the Roman Consul yesterday for the 3-year-olds, which has become, I guess, the northern default lead-up to the Coolmore Stud Stakes here on Derby Day. Cosmic Force turns the table on the fresh microphone. So Brazen Beau and Zoostar were the past horses in recent years to win this race and then head to the Coolmore. Great win for Tim Clark and Team Snowden.
Yeah, brave win. Dug deep and posted some really good late splits. So from that point of view, it was always going to be hard to catch them up on speed. Yeah, really good performance. I think Mike was a pass mark. He got the trail. He was first up.
Yeah, I thought he'd do a little bit more, but the betting suggested that he was going to be better for the run. So, yeah, jury's out a little bit for microphone, for me.
Even considering he was first up, though?
Yeah, I expected him to do a little bit more than that. First up, yeah.
Okay.
Real spring champion breed here, Duff.
Yeah, history's on his side here. We know he's a class horse. He's a Group 1 winner here at Randwick. He's had 2,000 metres stamped on his forehead since day one, and he finally finds it now. Well, he's a dominant staying horse on the rise. I feel his only possible issue is where he's going to get to in the run here, and could be
Now onto the track for the Group 1 Mowat and Chandon Spring Champion Stakes. Let's go and hear what
their opposition. So I'd guess he would take up the running, and I think it'll be very hard to beat. He's a big, high-rolling sort of...
Gates are back now, and they're off and racing. Battenberg jumped well off the inside. Just Thinking away really well wide out, and Clark looking for the lead early as Just Thinking comes across the face of the field to take the lead from Battenberg. Rhaegar going forward on the outside, a Quick Thinker. Then came the favourite Shadow Hero pretty close in the run. Settles fifth on the rails on the inside of Psychonic as they go over the cross. 2.5 further back to Castor Vecchio. One off the fence on the outside of Sir Mays, and dummy runners last of all. So Just Thinking with a clear lead today at the 800 metres by a length on Rhaegar. Then came Battenberg. 2 further back to Quick Thinker. Then the favourite Shadow Hero racing on the inside of Psychonic. 2 further back to Persam, pushed along now from Redder Rock, and Castor Vecchio's next. They go past the 600 to Castor Vecchio, 8 off the lead as Clark quickens the tempo now on Just Thinking. Races 2 lengths in front of Battenberg. Then came further back to Quick Thinker going to third. Shadow Hero gets cracking now from Psychonic, and Castor Vecchio's the widest down to the 300. Just Thinking 2 lengths clear from Battenberg. 3 further back to Shadow Hero, and Castor Vecchio's winding up on the outside. Battenberg goes to Just Thinking. Shadow Hero's closing in with Castor Vecchio. Shadow Hero after Battenberg. Shadow Hero takes the lead, and it's a favourite victory. Shadow Hero wins the Spring Champion from either the Ruffy Battenberg or Castel Vecchio. They just got to Just Thinking. Then came Sir Mays from Quick Thinker. Further back to Psychonic. Then Persan from Redder Rock. Good gap back to Rhaegar. Very keen today, and dummy run was last. And it's Josh Parr. Mark Newnham taking out the Group 1.
Yes, it's back-to-back for Mark Newnham. He won it last year with Maid of Heaven, a filly, and he wins here. And he's won a Group 1 as Mark thought he would. Shadow Hero. Brave Castelvecchio running on down the outside. Who's going to run second? It's a bob of the heads. Castelvecchio should get it.
Himself out of the pain barrier. That's a good race. That third horse is a talent. He could be the Queensland Derby horse next year. Castelvecchio was great, but all honours with the winner. Josh Parr reigns supreme again. He never give up.
Straps him. We're really good friends. He keeps me nice and calm before these big ones. James at Warwick Farm.
Talk about put the writing on the wall at his start before. The Gloaming Stakes was a brilliant win, and he's backed it up getting that Group 1.
Yes, he has, and he's been beautifully ridden by Josh in both wins. I thought he was in trouble about here. I just thought, but he's got such big lungs and the capacity to stay this horse. And at one stage I thought Castelvecchio was going to get him here, but you watch him just lift and surge this last bit. Look, he's been beautifully handled by Mark, and you know, he's never run him in any short races. He knows he's a stayer, so he's you know, he's the type of horse that, you know, goes straight into the Derby now, and a deserved favourite.
Was there a stride or two where you thought Brattenberg was going to cause the biggest upset?
Definitely.
Yeah, I did, and I was cheering for Rachel because obviously she won the race last year for Mark, and it would have been quite a fairy tale to get another Group 1 win in the exact same race a year later. But as Ronnie said, he surges. He doesn't have he does have a turn of foot for a stare, but he sort of builds up revs, and then once he flattens out, there's sort of no stopping him, is there? Castelvecchio, I thought, was still really solid. He obviously, they told him to go around horses. I don't know. I wonder whether if you'd gone through horses, it would have been the difference in the end. But I did speak to Brenton afterwards, and he said he peaked on his run. So
I thought he, you know, I thought he was outstanding, Castelvecchio. He's back in business. Whether he's, I think you're right. And look, that Brattenberg, I think he's going to make us a very good stayer. John Thompson won't torch him this preparation, I don't think, but he's. I reckon he's next year's horse.
Yeah.
He'll be looked after. Just thinking.
Hero is at $2.30 for the Victoria Derby.
Yeah, that's short all in any market, but yeah, look, get him there in one piece, and unless something untoward happens with some other lead-ups, it's the race is his to lose. Well, I hate saying it's his to lose, but he'll be easy.
Today, Shadow Hero and the Spring Champion delivering back-to-back wins in this race for Mark Newnham. It was just outside Hampton Courts' race record, which Josh Parr incidentally rode in this race 5 years ago. Josh Parr made the decision to jump off Castelvecchio, who was big from the back in a second, and perhaps heads to a Cox Plate.
Yeah, perhaps. So look, I don't think there's much between the two. The betting really was right on Shadow Hero, and they got it right. I thought Castelvecchio was very good, and he's just been looking for this sort of trip. Good to see him run well. I mean, I think he was 1,400 up to 2,000 yesterday, wasn't he? So he might have just peaked late in that race, but I don't think there's much between them. I didn't think that pre-race, and I don't think post-race either.
Corey, you know...
Scott Brunton.
Oh, how good is he? I think we're about to find out. There's huge reps on this horse. He's had a 5-week freshen. He thrashed a prize there at Moonee Valley there, second up. You know, you can't deny that he's won 7 from 9, 1,000 to a mile. He just looks a complete little racehorse.
Joe Pride.
Yeah, should she have beaten her is the question. She's a lovely big mare. She suffered her first defeat last time, but she was very brave in defeat, wide, no cover.
The runners for this terrific race, the Silver Eagle, first, second and third going into the Golden Eagle. Let's go and hear what Scott Brunton told.
Here comes the Silver Eagle, and that horse on screen, Brass, is attracting very good interest. Tab fix for Seeker.
And looks $1 million too on the strength of looks. How could you fault her? She's a magnificent mare by not by Lonro, she's by So You Think. And
racing now, and Behemoth missed the start. Caesar gets back, Military Zone, no real speed, and Mizzy flew out, and the mare's going to take the lead early stages from Jonker and Fasika to third, whipping around the outside of the field with great haste as Buffalo River in the early stages, and the speed is good. Madame Rouge back to fifth, then Can the Inevitable from Legend of Condor, Military Zone, Zusane, Capperjack, Caesar, and Behemoth after the tardy starts last. 800 out, and Jonker shows the way from Buffalo River going to second, and they scoot a couple of lengths in front of Mizzy. These leaders have really worked. Madame Rouge back on the inside for Seeker in fifth, travelling well. 2 further back to Military Zone as they approach the home turn from the Inevitable, and Legend of Condor moves up on the outside. So Nash gets going down the Inevitable as they come around the turn. It's Jonker just in front from on the outside. Buffalo River, they've gone awfully hard up front from Mizzy. For Seeker gets going now. So does the Inevitable, the outside down to the 250, and Fasika takes the lead from Mizzy, and the Inevitable the outside. It's Fasika ahead in front. The Inevitable's going to it. Nashua Waller sends the Inevitable to a narrow lead late, and the Inevitable just in front and goes on to win the Silver Eagle by a neck from a game for Seeker. A couple of lengths back to Mizzy, third in front of Military Zone. Then Madame Rouge from Capperjack and Jonker. Further back to Behemoth, Caesar. Buffalo River dropped out together with Legend of Condor.
Tasmanians here on course today are over the moon.
In 3 weeks' time, they're going to be staring down the barrel of a $7.5 million race. That's what they're in Sydney for. The inevitable, the real deal. Beach for Seeker. Also the...
there, what a ripper he is. He's just a winning machine. A lovely ride by Nash. Just had a bit of a bump on the turn there, which is not easy for a little fella, but he come through.
This race was announced some weeks later because we needed a good 4-year-old leader. And boy, we got it. What about this little Tasmanian, the inevitable?
Oh, what can you say? He is a little beauty. He was beautifully ridden by Nash. He ran right up to the wraps. You've only got to look at his record now, and it speaks all languages. And yeah, he'll add a bit of spice into the final as well. And she went down bravely for Seeker. She's a lovely mare. She did a great job. And little Mizzy just wanted to hang in a little bit here. She might be better on the rail, and she did work early. I think 3 worthy runners for the Golden Eagle there. You know, they were 3 of the favourite runners, and you want the best horses in the final, and I think we got the best 3 out of that race.
And you know what? I think they were the 3 that were almost guaranteed to start anyway.
Yep.
They probably would have scraped in with their ratings, but now they're guaranteed and they don't have to worry about it. From $15 into $9, which is a bit of an effort considering who's in the race. You just hope that out of the Everest they all come through beautifully, because Arcadia Queen and Classique Legend and Sunlight and even 10 Sovereigns, they're the 4-year-olds in the Everest. Brutal is waiting there. You've got an Epsom winner in Colding. Now you've got this Silver Eagle trifecta. And the second page doesn't lack any depth either.
Incredible.
Now, keep in mind...
Herbert Power Group 2 race, $400,000 up for grabs. And Jane, the pick of the yard of the stayers for you?
I'm going with Prince of Iran. I was really taken by him when he was in the country last.
So $3.20 at one stage, still Prince, just out to $3.60. A couple of horses they're back to beat the favourite. Is the overseas horses I mentioned before. Hakey is there at $9, and a bit of late money coming for number 13, the Chosen One, into $8.
Steel Prince at $2.36, Vet's Advice. So the favourite has been taken out. Steel Prince, number 3. Bookmakers rule a line, $2.36, Vet's Advice, the favourite out. And racing. Raheen House began only fairly, goes back towards the end. Quafila out quickly, straight to the lead from Sully, Wall of Fire. Ventura Storm lobs behind them. Now speed from the outside. Hackey's coming over. Prince of Aaron's going to boot up under Michael Walker as well to improve to 4th. Progressing to 5th is Super Titus. Wall of Fire 6th, Ventura Storm 7th. 3 lengths the Chosen One, followed by Glory Days, then Raheen House, Sweet Thomas, Hangman, Self Sense at the end. Out of the straight, 1900 metres to run. And Hackey's going to press on with it and leads by 2. Man would be at least 15 off the lead. 2 lengths Self Sense at the end. So it's Hackey towards the railway side. Kept them running 1,000 metres to run. 3/4 of a length in front of Quafila. 2.5 to 3 lengths Super Titus racing in isolation. 2 lengths Sully, then Prince of Aaron. Next Wall of Fire, the outside of Ventura Storm. A length Glory Days, 8 off the lead and getting motivated. Almost 3 deep now. Then Sweet Thomas, the Chosen One. Further back, Raheen House, Hangman as Self Sense last. The field is packing and the runs are coming. Coming up towards the turn at the 550. They've got to Hackey. Quafila, Sully 3 deep. Prince of Aaron 4 deep. Wall of Fire and Glory Days right behind them. Ventura Storm, they were followed by the Chosen One, who's got it back to follow into it. Then Super Titus and Hangman. It's on around the corner. 300 to go. Sully, Prince of Aaron. Wall of Fire. Quafila still kicking. Glory Days, the Chosen One down the outside with Hangman. Prince of Aaron at the 200 metres takes Sully. The Chosen One is the threat. Prince of Aaron 100 to go. The Chosen One bridging the gap. The Chosen One up to Prince of Aaron. The Chosen One gets a 10 in front. The Chosen One won it by a half. Prince of Aaron 3 lengths. Sully 3rd from Wall of Fire. Then Hangman, Ventura Storm, Quafila. Next Raheen House, Glory Days, Super Titus, Hackey, Sweet Thomas, and last was Self Sense.
The Chosen One for Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman have emerged as a key runner for the Stella Artois Caulfield Cup, and Damien Lane gave him a peach, a genuine staying test, and he had to get by a really tough stayer in Prince of Aaron. Prince of Aaron's
drama pre-race was almost as big as the drama post-race, with Still Prince hurting itself in the gates, being scratched. That changed the market and the complexion of this race, and the Chosen One for Baker Forsman And Damien Lane piloting it, grabs a spot in the Caulfield Cup. It's going to have 52 kilos, and the blinkers were a significant addition yesterday, Hutch.
They sure were, and look, a great ride for Michael Walker in defeat, I thought, on Prince of Arran. He's just looking to get into a spot in behind Sully there in fourth spot, and he manages to roll in. Fortunately, I think this was a really good guide in terms of going forward because of the pace of the race. It was good even tempo. Looking at the
few days in terms of the composition of this field, Finch sits atop the market, the Japanese Murder Glace, who of course we'll see first up in the Caulfield Cup, similar path to which we saw Admire Ratke win the race a few years ago. So the chosen one, Hutch, as we said, 52 kilos in a Caulfield Cup, that New Zealand staying form. Melbourne Cup market on screen as well. Cross Counter was amongst the latest shipment of internationals to land on our soil overnight. Grace, what do you make of that?
Well, I think there's plenty of water to go under the bridge from a Melbourne Cup perspective. I mean, we still don't know.
Simo taken with Prince of Arran's run yesterday, as we said, 4 starts in Australia and the money all 4.
He loves travelling to Australia, doesn't he? But if you just look at the form through the Ebor, a horse called Mustajir, who actually 25% of him was sold during the week, he's beaten Prince of Arran comfortably in the Ebor. So if he brings his best Northern Hemisphere form to Australia, you'd think he's going to be ultra competitive as well.
Welcome back. Now it's the market for the first of our Group 1s here today, the 1,000 guineas. Flit has been all the rage right throughout the week. It was as low as even money at the moment, just out to $2.25. A little bit of money coming for the stablemate in Lyre. That's come under the $5 mark. That's into $4.60. $7.50 for Acting. Missile Mantra at $9. Emeralds has come down to $11. South Bank 20. Tenley out.
Finland and Amphitrite is on board number 4, Acting.
I'm going with South Bank, the most expensive yearling bought in this field.
First couple of races we've seen them parading around the ring and they were all full of laughs and jokes and wanting to talk, but all the poker face.
Into the outside alley, and the field is set for the Schweppes 1,000 guineas. Set. Shocking moment. It's racing in the 1,000 guineas. Pretty good line, although Acting was a touch slow, and Flit began cleanly with also South Bank and Lyre. I Am Eloquent got up to about 4th from Barbie's Fox. Acting's about 6th in the mix at the moment, followed by Emeralds, and then came St Edward's Crown. Further back is Tenley, and 2 further back is Missile Mantra. As they climb the hill at the 1,200 metres, and South Bank is going to take it up by a length and a tail to I Am Eloquent and Lyre 3rd. They were followed by Acting, who got to 4th, the outside of Flit, who's 5th tucked away the fence. 3/4 of a length to Emeralds, and then Barbie's Fox, Tenley, a length and a quarter, Missile Mantra. St Edward's Crown is at the rear. No pace, 9.50 out. The leader is South Bank. By a length to I Am Eloquent. Lyre 3rd, and 4th is Acting, one off the rails. Flit 50 inside. Then Emeralds a length. Barbie's Fox, Tenley, Missile Mantra. St Edward's Crown is at the end. 7.50 out. South Bank's having a good passage by a length and a quarter. I Am Eloquent. Lyre 3rd, followed by Acting, approaching the 600 metres. They were followed by Flit, who needs some luck. Emeralds 3 wide around her from Barbie's Fox and Tenley. Then St Edward's Crown and Missile Mantra as they come up to the turn at the 4.50. South Bank just in front. Lyre the outside, a length away from I Am Eloquent under the whip. Then Acting and Emeralds. Flit behind them's running on at South Bank as they reach the 200 metres. Still a length and a half Lyre. Then Flit behind them from Acting, Missile Mantra. South Bank approaching the 100 metres, going well, a length and a quarter. Flit's out with Missile Mantra. South Bank getting tied. Flit, Missile Mantra coming at her. They hit it. It's a 3-way go. Flit in the middle, prominent. Flit or Missile Mantra or South Bank. Terrific go to the 1,000 guineas. Lyre behind them. Then Acting and Emeralds. Barbie's Fox, I Am Eloquent. Then Tenley and St Edward's Crown. And it will be Flit.
Flit will get it. Flit in the middle will put her nose down when it counts most. Huey Bowman got it. Centimetre perfect. Flit will win by the smallest possible margin over Missile Mantra, and back on the inside, South Bank was brave. Huey Bowman.
I was a little bit surprised that she didn't quicken like I felt she was going to do last start, but the pace really poured on at the 400, and I had to wait for that pace to go before I could move, and it just left her a bit flat-footed, but my word, she was strong late, and I think if it was a more evenly run event, I feel like there was a couple of pilots out there more worried about me than the race. I think if it was a genuinely run event, she would have won very comfortably. But no, all credit to her.
Sent Hugh Bowman yesterday from an inside gate to try and give this horse every chance. He had to be forming the patience of a monk coming around the turn, hoping that he would get a split. It did, so he wins his second 1,000 Guineas, rode Amicus to a victory in this race 5 years ago. The question now is, where does Flit perhaps go? There's talk that it might be Cox Plate bound.
Yeah, it could well be, but debacle in terms of pace. I mean, there were 8 lengths for the first 2 sections outside on raw times. This is outside of standard, so it was literally just a sprint home. A couple of big runs in the race.
Out with Missile Mantra, South Bank getting tied, Flit, Missile Mantra coming at it, they hit it! It's a 3-way go, Flit in the middle, prominent. Flit or Missile.
Would have been nervous watching if you'd taken the short odds Flit, but it gets the split between the leader South Bank and a closing Missile Mantra was almost able to get over the top of them. 0.75 slower than the Caulfield Guineas was the 1,000 Guineas. Kate Watts has done some fantastic work for us this morning out at Flemington. She's chatted to James.
She hasn't run well enough on the clock, I think, to say we'll take on the older horses. I think they will lower their sights a little bit in terms of pick a softer option, because
sounds like they're going to head towards the Vars or the Empire
yeah,
Rose a week later.
I think those are far more likely than what we saw yesterday.
1,000 Guineas.
Mark Zara, Liar.
Oh, look, she went okay. Mile probably just sees her out.
James McDonald, South Bank.
Credit to the filly. She's done a tremendous job. Can't believe she got beat. She just gave me the absolute perfect ride. She executed just brilliantly for a filly that's never led before. She had it all but the line, but for a filly that's only had a 4 start, she's a beauty.
Damien Lane, Missile Mantra.
Feel like crying, to be honest. She probably deserved that more than any. She's been so good all prep without any luck. I thought we'd used all our bad luck with barriers going into today, but obviously not. She was brave. You know, obviously not. She was brave. You know, that's all I've got.
Grace, is that as an emotional response you've seen from a jockey after a Group 1?
Definitely up there, because it's not just...
Of the 1,000 Guineas, Flit sent to Melbourne to concentrate on this race. She's in behind the speed. Hugh Bowman said afterwards that it didn't suit her because it was just a sprint home.
I got no doubt it didn't suit her. And she's not the slow run race, duck and weave type of horse. And, she was expected to win yesterday, and some may have been disappointed in the win. But I think she'd be a better horse like what Missile Mantra is, just with momentum. She was never going to win that race. The leader was going to hang on, and then you saw Missile Mantra coming. She was going to win, but she found a way. She's a good filly, and I think she'll be better when she gets to 2,000 metres as well. Huge from the back, wasn't she, Missile Mantra, considering the way the race was run, and just over-raced the third horse. You could make excuses that if she would have settled a little bit better South Bank, that she could have figured in a race like that. But, as I said, she found a way, Flit. Yep.
We are up to race number 7, the first leg of the quaddie, and punters are very happy they got their money with Flit, and they'll be backing up here with the Villiers. So Loving Gabby, the first of our 3 favourites, goes down. Flit wins, and they're hoping for 2 out of 3 here. $2.15 is your favourite in Villiers. It is the best back runner. Having said that, there's some support for Homesman, who's the second favourite at, well, it's into $2.80 now. So
and such a tight finish.
220 available at Bet365 with Villiers. The Group 1 for Villiers last start. And you look at the favourites, Hutch, in the last decade, they've had 5 wins.
As I said earlier, I mean, you go through his overall form, he's so hard to fault, and he has an outstanding...
Still the best back runner, over 50% of our win hold on the favourite here, so punters are pretty keen to put their winnings from Flit onto a Villiers. Outside of that, probably, Homesman's still there at that $3.80 mark, hasn't moved. Galo
ready, racing at the 2,000 metres, and from barrier 1, Galo's shot began brilliantly, straight to the lead from Homesman, who's going to race him after 100 metres. Blackheart Bart is surging up with Dream Castle, followed by Harlem behind them. Then came Humidor, 3/4 of a length, Cape of Good Hope, 2 lengths, Suzuka, Devious, well back, Gatting, and also a Villiers. So Galo's shop is so with approximately approximately 1,300 metres to run, and as he loves to do, Galo Shop gets out and bowls. Leads by about a length and a quarter. Second is Homesman. Dreamcastle 3 wide the trip, followed by Harlem fourth the paint. Then Blackheart Bart, the Underwood winner. 3/4 of a length to Gatting. Humidor. Further back is Cape of Good Hope. Avilius second last. Suzuka Devious is at the end. Galo Shop has put the brakes on. 1,000 metres to go. It's not fast. Leads by 3/4 of a length Homesman. Dreamcastle third out wider. Harlem fourth the inside from Blackheart Bart. Gatting has a ride home 3 deep. A length and a quarter Humidor, Cape of Good Hope. Avilius is 3 back on that 3 wide train, and 2 lengths Suzuka Devious. Galo Shop 600 metres to go is about to seal it up. 3/4 of a length to Homesman. A length Dreamcastle followed by Harlem, Blackheart Bart, Gatting, then Humidor, Cape of Good Hope. Avilius second last, about to get motivated. Suzuka Devious is at the end. It's Galo Shop at the 400 as they quicken. Homesman moves up on its outside from Blackheart Bart. Harlem, Humidor back to the fence from Dreamcastle. Avilius is the widest and winding up. It's Galo Shop approaching the 200 with Homesman. Blackheart Bart's coming the outside. Galo Shop, Blackheart Bart, Cape of Good Hope's a threat the outside. Blackheart Bart from Cape of Good Hope. Bart's kicking. Blackheart Bart, Cape of Good Hope, they've hit it together. Photo finish. Third of all of them. Humidor or Harlem or Avilius, then Homesman from Galo Shop. Next, Suzuka Devious, Gatting, and Dreamcastle at the end of the field, and Cape of Good Hope will get up.
The International will get up, and the entire son of Galileo for Coolmore, Highland Reel's brother, right on the line, has won a Group 1 at only his 11th start, and he's done it for Lindsay Park Racing and Mark Zara. Huge performance, hadn't raced since August, and right on the line has nailed Blackheart Bart. Cape of Good Hope, and the...
I wasn't sure I was going to run him down. He gave a good kick, but, you know, he's obviously not a bad horse, and was able to run him down the line. We don't know what to expect with these. Hard to tell, and not a vintage year for our weight for age horses, and, you know, it just showed then, didn't it? Like, had a nice run, but he was able to be strong all the way the line. Yeah, you're riding your bloke, and then...
A real thank you to Paul Shanahan, because he actually pushed me into the horse. He made me buy it, and we've never been more happy with the horse coming through. He looks like a true weight for age horse. And a special thank you to Gary Fennessy, who's been linked. I won't be stepping the work up. I'll keep him exactly the same going into that Cox Plate.
Okay, so you go to the Cox Plate. Is that...
Be confusing yourself, of course, with the globetrotting sprinter of 15 years ago in Cape of Good Hope as well, Hutch, but showed a nice turn of foot late.
Well, I was confused when I saw the name. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. What a win this. So once again, though, they absolutely crawled in this race. I think they were about for that first sort of large portion of the race, according to dailysectionals.com.au, they were about 9.9 lengths outside of the standard on the raw time. So they've crawled, they've sprinted, but if anything, that just upgraded the performance of the winner for Mark Zara aboard Cape of Good Hope.
Blackheart Bart, second in this race again. It was second in this race in 2016 to Winks. Admittedly, that was in a 3-horse field, but what a return this horse is having coming off its Underwood victory, Corey.
And he's parading around the enclosure. He looked like, honestly, like a 3 or 4-year-old. He looked that great in the coat, and he looked that...
The outside, Galo Shop, Blackheart Bart, Cape of Good Hope's a threat the outside. Blackheart Bart from Cape of Good Hope. Bart's kicking. Blackheart Bart, Cape of Good Hope, they've hit it together. Photo finish.
Cape of Good Hope and Avilius peel off, equal second best last 400s of the day. What do we make of Avilius, Simo? It seems of all the Melbourne tracks who had the most affinity with Caulfield, where it's performed strongly.
Yeah, I thought he was just fair yesterday, and I was also quite disappointed in the runs of Homesman and Galo Chop, given the time that they were running in the early stages. I thought they would find a little bit more, but they really didn't kick off the bend, and they were gone sort of 400 metres out. But full credit to Lindsay Park. I know they bought 2 horses, Constantinople and Cape of Good Hope. I think the package was about $3 million for both horses, and great to see the owners get an immediate return on, you know, on a decent investment. But you know, he's
plate market now, Hutch, and it continues to take shape not by virtue of the fact that we aren't going to see Liz Gracheux run before, and now potentially Dancer Terrier as well before the Cox Plate, but just by virtue of the fact that we don't think there's anywhere near the depth around them to compete domestically.
Oh, if Liz Gracheux turns up, if she's travelled fine and she's in good order, I'm not worried about the track for her. She'll get around the valley. 450's a gift. She can race on speed. The horse that she beat in Hong Kong won the Arc the other day. The Group 1 form around her is exceptional. and she's not a pensioner, which helps.
Jeez, the pensioners are getting a whacking this morning.
Stakes, another great finish here. Blackheart Bart runs a bottler again, but it's Cape of Good Hope.
Well, this is an interesting horse. He's only a young 4-year-old import, so maybe when you want to see him again, he's relatively lightly raced. I had a look at his record last night. He's only had 10 starts, but he's been around.
Yeah, he's had plenty of travelling. The interesting case of this is a well-executed plan by Lindsay Park, because they went out to buy a Melbourne Cup horse and they bought 2 horses. So they bought Constantinople, who's going straight into the Melbourne Cup, who's got a form behind Logician, who's the St Leger winner back in the UK. He's by frankly, he's one of the better horses going around at the moment. And this horse had to come with the deal. So unfortunate that he had to buy another horse with the deal, but then you go and come straight basically off of a plane and 2 weeks in quarantine and you win the Caulfield Stakes exactly like Criterion did. And this horse has been Gary Fennessy, long-time employee of Lindsay.
Here are our weight for age horses.
Yeah, well,
our favourite is a Japanese galloper.
Well, everyone's going to him now. Villiers, well, did he prove yesterday that he does need it soft to be dominant?
He needs sting out of the track,
Definitely.
and he needs for him to reel off the sectionals. He's not comfortable in firm tracks like that Caulfield one would have been yesterday.
We know she's very good, Mystic Journey, but we learned nothing with a negative ride last time to know if she's going to run in a hard Cox plate. You know, can he train on Cape of Good Hope? Tiake Shark, well, he's going to peak if he's good enough. Holmes and expected more yesterday. Densatira had a setback and Flitz in the market. So it's
Racing.com, and let's take a look at the market for the big one, the Caulfield Guineas. And Darla Sun has been favourite right throughout ever since we opened the market. Darla Sun's been up and down a little bit in price, sort of $3.20 up to $4, now back to $3.70, but it is the best back runner, it is favourite. But we're getting some money for a couple of other runners. Alligator Blood is out to $5.50. Kubrick has sort of got down from 8 earlier in the week and is holding now at 6. Getting some money for Super Seth as we get closer. It's back at $7.50. Groundswell got as low as 11 out to 13.
Over the mile, but if he gets it, he'll be hard to beat because he makes his own luck. He'll go forward and he'll take some catching.
See, was him nice and Soul Patch is going on top from the yard. I don't think, as I said, there was not another horse that strode out like he did. He had a lot of purpose. I know.
Favourite did touch $3.40, just back out into $3.60. Alligator Blood was $5.50 last time we looked. Now back down to $5, so some more money coming for the Queenslander there. Kubrick at 7, Super Seth at 8, just to turn out. Groundswell 13, Super.
Racing in the Guineas. Rockabasharana from Barrier 1 began well. Dalasan out fast and cleanly out wide, surging up with Alligator Blood, and also Groundswell not too far away with Your Deal, Super Seth and Conqueror. Dalasan's about 4th and 4 wide at this stage. Rockabasharana at the 1,300 metres, little length and a quarter. Alligator Blood, Groundswell, Dalasan progresses to 4th steadily. Then came Skidor and Conqueror from Your Deal. Super Seth midfield wide from Stand to Attention. A length away Kubrick, Vegas Night, Express Pass and Subadar. 2 Soul Patch, then Exeter. Eric the Eel is last. Rockabasharana to the side of the course at the 950 by 2.5. Alligator Blood, a length. Dalasan 3rd. 4th on the inside then is Groundswell, followed by Skidor, Your Deal, Conqueror. Next in that pack is Super Seth as they run by the 800 marker. Further back is Vegas Night, the outside of Stand to Attention, followed by Express Pass and Kubrick around that group. Next is Subadar, and they were followed by Exeter, Soul Patch and Eric the Eel. Rockabasharana, a generous tempo here in the Guineas, comes up to the turn at the 450, a length and a half. Alligator Blood, 2.5 to Dalasan and Groundswell. A few of these chasing, then Skidor, Conqueror. Further back, Your Deal, Kubrick. Rockabasharana into the straight at the 250, but here's the Alligator. Alligator Blood moves up and takes it, then Groundswell. Dalasan needs to find, followed by Conqueror, Super Seth, but Alligator Blood, 100 metres to go, races away, 3 lengths in front. Super Seth is flying. Alligator Blood stopping Super Seth from the clouds. It's close. Super Seth has put in a mighty lunge. Photo, Super Seth may have got Alligator Blood. It's a Photo, Groundswell for 3rd, Photo 4. Subadar, Vegas Night, Stand to Attention. Dalasan in a group. Conqueror pulling up quickly. Express Pass. Next in the field was Soul Patch, Rockabasharana, Skidor, Your Deal. Well back Kubrick, Eric the Eel, and Exeter. And Super Seth will get up in a barnstorming performance.
Super Seth will get it. He'll get it right on the line. And Anthony Friedman has been able to do a big win here with the Caulfield Guineas with Super Seth with Mark Zara storming down the outside just when Alligator Blood looked home and done all the work.
In 2 Group 1s back-to-back, Mark Zara's ridden exactly the same race and got there at exactly the same time, right on the line.
Yeah, and quite incredible.
Out. Easy, let rip. Back-to-back Group 1s, these are the days that you work so hard for a whole year to get to, and it must be just an awesome feeling. I'll tell you, that first glass of champagne tonight's going to go down very nicely. So how far is this horse?
And I thought had every chance, got into a nice spot. Alligator Blood was so brave, but ultimately that powerful finish from Super Seth was the difference.
Let's pick up Matt Hill's call of the Caulfield Guineas.
Alligator Blood moves up and takes it, then Groundswell. Dallasan needs to find, followed by Conqueror Super Seth, but Alligator Blood, 100 metres to go, races away, 3 lengths in front. Super Seth is flying. Alligator Blood stopping Super Seth from the clouds. It's close. Super Seth has put in a mighty...
I know we've sung his praises already this morning, but for Matt Hill, he would have spotted those stripy silks out of the corner of his left eye flashing in the form of Super Seth. But Corey, first, just on the favourite Dallasan and Hugh Bowman's effort in the first couple hundred metres to get it into what I thought was a reasonable position. How did you view his ride?
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought it wasn't obviously the best barrier. It was probably the worst barrier for Dallasan, but being out where he was, even though he's 3 deep, not the entire, but let the horse flow. If he was ever going to get the mile, and he had every opportunity to get the mile, I was just a little bit disappointed for Alligator Blood. Like, if he had seen, like Matt Hill did, the stripy silks out of the corner of his eye a little bit earlier, I reckon he would have been able to hold on, because you find horses when they're competing, they're a long way apart. In Alligator Blood's case, I think he lost sight and may have relaxed a little bit through the line and didn't see Super Seth running through the line. It would have been more of
on home thinking he'd won the race. I mean, they were so far apart, and look, it was a narrow margin, but ultimately with Dallasan, great vision there, is that Dallasan was in between them in the run. I think, you know, when you look at Alligator Blood, and that first section actually wasn't that quick.
About Alligator Blood, that he's a gelding, so we're going to see him for years and years to come, and he seems to me to have the profile being an on-speed horse. He could be a weight for age, 1,400 metre, 1,600 metre horse for the next sort of 3 or 4 seasons. So no doubt Super Seth, being a colt, will eventually find his way to stud, being a son of Dundeel, and he's flying at the moment. So I just like seeing those geldings that you know they're just going to continue to progress, and you know he's.
Karen McAvoy, Groundswell.
Yeah, really good run. You know, 4th run in the race, and he got out sharp into a spot, travelled nicely, and he battled on well. So every reason to think he'd be better next prep.
Ryan Maloney, Alligator Blood.
Look, never been so happy and so gutted at the same time for the horse. Kicked clear from the leader, and I thought I was home. You know, it's gut-wrenching for the result, but I couldn't be more proud of the horse. He's done everything we asked, plus more. So.
Superdar.
He ran fantastic, my bloke. Hurt us early. We I tried to persist holding me ground on the inside, and we continued getting pushed both sides, and had to give up that spot. But how he finished through the line was terrific. Terrific.
Hugh Bowman, Dallasan.
Yeah, look, I suppose on face value it was a bit disappointing, but you know, from the wide draw he was inclined to over race for the first quarter of the race, and I got him to relax into a good rhythm from about the 900. But you know, from there on we had everything go our way, and they were too good for him.
Final week at Flemington, and it presented yesterday. A little bit unlucky, and perhaps Carbine Club beckoning.
Yeah, well, perhaps. It's interesting. He's going to need to probably be able to be take a position, I think, and maybe the blinkers are required. I'm not sure, but along with Super Seth, his last 200 wasn't dissimilar to the winner. Actually, he was just too far out of his ground. So hopefully, maybe there's a gear change. Maybe he wants more ground. I'm not sure.
Coming around the home turn, this was going to be an outstanding training performance. Alligator Blood was just going to be unbeaten. How in the world did they catch Alligator Blood? How did Super Seth win this? 200 metres, 150, the 100's coming up. You haven't got long to go. Poor David Van Dyke and the owners, but well done to all the owners of Super Seth, because this is phenomenal.
Yep, it's that's a bad beat if you know.
Yeah.
To be that looking the winner in a Caulfield Guineas and getting run down when it looked like nothing could run you down.
Well, nothing else
I think you can cop defeat, and it's exciting if you run a place in a race like that, but to think you've got it home and hosed. Yeah. Look, look, he's had the ability since day one, this Super Seth, and this Anthony Freedman is he's just such a grand final trainer. And look at the way, you see these professional jockeys these days, use this horse with the way his arms went out just prior to that last stride, it was incredible. And no, a very, you know, Dundale's done a great job, hasn't he? He's had a great day yesterday. And
he did. He sired Castelvecchio, obviously, who was second, Super Seth, and the Inevitable.
In the day, but he finally gets a run in this. He can measure up.
Yeah, it looks a more suitable contest, doesn't it? Particularly if the speed is on. He's a hard one to line up, though.
Big field. We've got through them all for the Toorak Handicap. And Jane, the pick of the yard for you.
Well, it was the first horse we looked at. The 5 Nights Watch goes on top. As I said, I thought he was a bit of a standout, and my mind did not change when I was watching the other horses in the yard. I think
have come down, and we know how tough this race is. It's $7.50 the field for both Night's Watch and Princess Jenny. So there at that, we've got $8, or Waging War's now coming in to $7.50. So there we have 3 at $7.50. Age of Chivalry at $8.50. Secandra 13.
Jets. And the big field away. Chief Ironside towards the inside, away fairly. Night's Watch in the back half. Age of Chivalry began quickly with Cliff's Edge. Waging War's up there on the premises with Miss Siska and Streets of Avalon from a wide gate. Then Mahamadeus. Next in the field, Wind Spell. And then came around the outside, Dyslexic from Amphitrite. Fierce Impact, Chief Ironside, Secandrabad. Back in the field, Madison County. And they were followed by Widgie Turf. And further back, Night's Watch from Order again, Princess Jenny. And Sosie Bonner's at the end. Cliff's Edge in front at the 1,000 metres by a half length. Streets of Avalon, a length and a quarter. Age of Chivalry third, getting a lovely run the outside of Waging War. A couple of lengths, Miss Siska, a similar gap. Dyslexic 3 wide around Windspell and Mahamadeus. Next is Amphitrite, Fierce Impact 3 deep, followed by Chief Ironside. Then Madison County, Secandrabad from Night's Watch, and Widgie Turf as well, back from Order again. And towards the back is Princess Jenny and Sosie Bon. Cliff's Edge at the 600 metres, kept them running, strings them out by a length and a quarter. Streets of Avalon, then Waging War. Age of Chivalry niggled at from Miss Siska, then Dyslexic, and further back Mahamadeus. Fierce Impact out deeper on the track with Madison County. Amphitrite trying to track into it, followed by Widgie Turf. Cliff's Edge went for home as they reached the 250, led by about a length and a half to Streets of Avalon. Fierce Impact the outside, chasing Cliff as they reach the 150. Fierce Impact the outside takes the lead from Cliff's Edge. Night's Watch out late, but it's all Fierce Impact. Fierce Impact clear for Craig Williams. Fierce Impact won the Toorak. Second, Night's Watch photo. Third, Secandra Battle, Age of Chivalry, followed by Waging War and Madison County. Streets of Avalon, Mahamadeus, Princess Jenny, then Miss Siska. Cliff's Edge got tired. Widgie Turf, Chief Ironside, Wind Spell, and then came Sosie Bon, Dyslexic, Amphitrite, and Order again at the end.
One of the good guys of racing's been rewarded today with another Group 1 win. It is Matthew Smith. Fierce Impact, the former Japanese horse. Craig Williams got a beautiful run in transit. He's burst clear. Age of Chivalry, I think Night's Watch was the horse that was unlucky, held up, eventually got the split and burst late. Secandrabad ran really well, but let's concentrate.
For Matt Smith, who won the Empire Rose with Hurdle Myrtle back in 2011. It's Craig Williams' second Toorak Handicap. He won this race on barely a moment in 2005. Hutchie, this horse ran 8th in this race last year. Its last victory was the Summer Cup on Boxing Day last year, ridden by one C. Brown. And it had put the writing on the wall with only one run this preparation, but what a run it was. And the colding form continues to get reinforced.
You say Corey got beat on it?
Last win.
Last win. There you go, Corey. I was going to say.
It was nearly my last win as well.
I tell you what, at least this race they went along at a good speed. This was on the raw figures rated well. They really rolled along. It was a good, genuine tempo, and Fierce Impact, like you said, that colding form has really come through the fore. I think it was a very decisive victory, really. I mean, I know Night's Watch was a touch held up. He seems to be one of those horses, but take nothing away from the winner. I thought Fierce Impact was awesome.
Tough watch again. If you're like me, we're on Night's
50. Fierce Impact the outside takes the lead from Cliff's Edge. Night's Watch out late, but it's all Fierce Impact. Fierce Impact clear for Craig Williams. Fierce Impact won the Toorak. Second, Night's Watch.
Got a stud career ahead of it now, son of Deep Impact. They thought the Summer Cup victory on Boxing Day had given it the tick from a black type perspective, but much better to have a Toorak Handicap on your pedigree page.
Yeah, it was a really good win, and Craig didn't need the whip.
No, he obviously thought he was very confident, threw the whip away. He's an actual tricky horse to ride. You'll see with colding.
He was just travelling so well. He was in that 3 to 4 wide train with cover and just building momentum through the home turn and just presented early, ran away from them.
Princess Jenny's first graphic that an Empire Rose looks like a peach race for her.
Yeah, she's very exciting for me ahead of the Empire Rose, where she does drop back to fillies and mares. She was really building into the race, and then she just ran into traffic, unfortunately, as was the case with a number of runners. But she's absolutely going about her racing, this preparation, in the right way, and I think she's right on track for her target.
Impact gave the Warwick Farm trainer his second Group 1, Hurdle Myrtle, in 2011 in the Mire, and now this horse in the Frank Cook colours for his Impact with the Toorak.
Yeah, just that colding form shaped up all day yesterday, and this horse had Colding beat there first up, and Colding come back on him, but he improved second up here, surprisingly big odds, and gets the job done. He's a horse that could go on to the Cantala now and be competitive. That'd be a lovely race for him.
He would be worth a fair bit of money being by Deep Impact now.
Yeah, he's worth something. I got to offer this.
Mounting up we go for the Alfa Romeo Schillaci Stakes. It's a Group 2 race worth $400,000, but even more importantly, it's worth a shot at a race worth $14 million. And I reckon, well, Godolphin might be keen to have a crack here with Trekking, the favourite here, who ran first up Hutch in the Moya, ran really well.
He was superb, back and wide, and closed off almost as well as anything else in that race. He's going to strip.
The Bonds Away's come down from that 5, and the Bostonian's there at $6.50, Baller Muscle 8, and then you're out to Booker 11, Veridine 14, and Ashlaw 41.
Romeo Schillaci Stakes. Sets, racing. Ball of Muscle began very fast from Rebel King, speed towards the inside. Dispatch got to third from Ashlaw, then the Bostonian Booker. 2 further back Trekking, and then came Viridine and Bonds Away is at the end. Onto the course proper. Ball of Muscle is the leader, contained speed from him. At the 800 metres, a half length Dispatch the fence, and they were followed by Ashlaw, Rebel King. A length and a quarter the Bostonian, and then came Booker off the rails. A length and a quarter away Trekking on the fence, and then came Viridine. Bonds Away last 7 off the leader. Dispatch takes on Ball of Muscle, approaching the corner at the 450. A length and a quarter Rebel King, Ashlaw, the Bostonian, hugging the rails from Booker. Then came Trekking, getting a bit closer from Bonds Away and Viridine in the straight. Ball of Muscle off the rails at the 300 metres, led by a length and a half the Bostonian. Then came Ashlaw, Trekking running on from Bonds Away the fence, and then came Booker. Ball of Muscle needs the line, Trekking and the Bostonian chasing Ball of Muscle with Trekking. Trekking's got Ball of Muscle, the Bostonian Trekking through, and Trekking has won it from Ball of Muscle, the Bostonian, Viridine 4, then Bonds Away, Ashlaw, Rebel King. Dispatch got the stitch and Booker back with him.
Trekking bursts through late. Great ride by Karen McAvoy, and Trekking and the Bostonian bursting up on the inside. Ball of Muscle, brave as always, and Godolphin might just have another big chance as they have a crack at a $14 million race. James Cummings wins the Schillaci Stakes here. $400,000.
$14 million race next Saturday in Sydney. Trekking secures first rights to the slot. We'll find out more in a moment as to whether the team Godolphin will be sending the horse in that direction. It won the Hallmark, incidentally, over the 1200 at Randwick back in the autumn. If it declines, Ball of Muscle, who was third in the Sydney Stakes on Everest Day 2 years ago, has the next go at it. The Bostonian, third in this race, we know is heading to the Manikato. So Trekking, as we said, has first dibs on that Everest slot, and it was a solid enough win for McAvoy and Cummings.
It was a huge win. This is on the Raw Times. It was nearly one of the better performances of the day, and actually ranked the best race. This was the one that surprised me on the dailysectionals.com.au sort of figures, because I wasn't sure that they actually posted those great numbers, but let's hear Matt Hill's call.
Running on from Bonds Away the thing. Trekking's got Ball of Muscle, the Bostonian, Trekking through, and Trekking has won it from Ball of Muscle.
I think the Melbourne Racing Club would have been very happy that Trekking won that race, because if you're honest about the form through the race, I think Trekking's probably the only horse that could be competitive in an Everest, and that's probably a stretch to say that he could be really competitive in an Everest. But if Ball of Muscle gets the run, I mean, he's not a 1200 metre horse, so I would have thought the club would have been delighted with that outcome, and they've got a horse that, you know, is going into the Everest as probably a $12 or $14 chance.
James Cummings.
From the beaten brigade in this race, Viridine, you mentioned, he's likely going to go to the Manikato, as to the Bostonian, who was also pretty good. He's now third up out to 1200 metres. That's sort of his target race. But speaking to James Cummings...
Yeah, and I think the right horse gets in here as well. You know, we're talking about a Stradbroke winner. He's a very good horse. the timing, third up off a win on a backup, looks okay for me. If he had an issue, it might be that he might be just looking for maybe 1,300 metres now. Well, that was only 11. But if they overdo it in an Everest, who's to say that he couldn't run on and surprise a few? He's a genuine horse. I thought Ball of Muscle was fantastic.
Today, if Godolphin say trekking hasn't pulled up, we're not going, the option goes to Joe Pride with Ball of Muscle, then he has to make a decision. If he wasn't to go there, the Bostonians trainer Tony Pike has already said that he wouldn't be going. He's going to be staying in Melbourne. So, but I don't.
Yeah, just looking at that marker, you know, you got the Bolter in her time, $26. What has she done wrong? Just because she hasn't run.
That's all.
That's the only reason why she's $26, because she hasn't run. You have a look at her first up record. That's they're